Welcome in, everyone, to the VESL 2v2 Summer Cup. I am Vaudable, and joining me is Bass, or Bass from the past. And there'll be some updates on what's going on in the tournament a little bit earlier, but we'll talk about Pool 2 here at Bass and what these players are competing for. $1,500 on the line, $1,000 for first place, $500 for second, and $100 MVP that's voted by all of us in the background. That'll help decide that at the end of this weekend. We had a double elimination bracket to start yesterday. Now it's group stages with the top 3 teams making it into the playoffs tomorrow. How excited are you, Bass?
I'm thrilled. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see all the competition. And honestly, I'm excited to get this one kicked off because I really do feel like this first match that we've got upcoming has one of our best contenders in this entire competition to take this entire thing home. So, again, at this point, just kind of anticipating, waiting to see what the weekend has, what unfolds here. But today is, I wouldn't say a formality necessarily, Vaude, but it's really about starting to judge the team, see what type of players they are, and get prepared for tomorrow. Because for both of the groups that we have here, we're only sending one team home.
That's true. So every team has at least 2 lives. You got to win a single match to move forward. Makes it pretty easy there as well. And then depending on how you do, if you win both your matches, then you get the highest seed out of your group. You get a bye into tomorrow. And then you are also able to play in just best of 7s, guaranteed top 4. So win another series after that. Basically just win 3 series and you get into the money there, which is pretty solid for them. But if you do lose that upper bracket matchup, you still make it into the playoffs as well, just on the other side of the bracket. And then if you lose both of your or one of your matches and then win the next one, then you are also able to get into the same side of the bracket as the person who won your bracket. So, it might not be as lucky, but you still have another chance to move forward there as well for the playoffs. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Just trying to keep track of all of it.
It's a lot.
A couple of different ways it's working out. The basic way and the rule that always stays true throughout all of esports is win and you're in. If you can win here today, it's going to go a heck of a long way, especially for our upper 2 teams. As long as they're able to win at least that matchup, they're guaranteed making it into playoffs. Doesn't matter if it's through the uppers or lowers, they're guaranteed making it through. So winning this first matchup here is going to be extremely important, especially for our first 2 teams of the day. Vaude, we're just about ready to get this one kicked off here, as I think we've got Hitball and We Eat Food. I gotta say, if one thing stays consistent throughout every single time that I've casted anything high school, these kids know how to name themselves and know how to name their teams.
Oh, yeah, we got Hitball versus We Eat Food. I mean, great names there as well. We have GCs in this pool, spelt in a weird way. And then we have Nightcord at 2,500. And that's 2,500 hours, not MMR, because that would be insane if we had people like that in this tournament. But even then, we still have some decent quality players. Dark, specifically, Stinky Bus as well on their side. And then on the other end, for We Eat Food, we have Heart System and Easy to Freeze. I mean, again, great names for these players as well.
I gotta love it. I appreciate it. As somebody who came from, I created my name, I think, literally as I was going into high school and Bass in the past. I look back now, it's a little bit of a mouthful, but it's still about as creative as you can come. And for these players here today, they're doing the exact same thing, so I have to appreciate it entirely. The thing is, though, names aren't going to win you this competition, and especially, I would say, here for, I believe it is We Eat Food, who is going to be the lower seed in this one. They're going to have to do a lot because it really does feel as if the team they're going up against here, like I mentioned prior, is maybe one of the best teams in this entire competition. Dark is a 2,100 player. For those of you that don't know exactly what that means, it means the highest rank in Rocket League starts at 1,800 MMR. He has passed that and gone way past that since then. So this is a player with a lot of experience, maybe not necessarily in professional competitions, but he knows how to play against the very best that Rocket League has to offer. When he's playing in lobbies at that MMR, he's literally playing against players that are the top 100 on the planet. So this guy's good. He knows how he's going to play here today. The question is, can he do enough to start off right and really put his stamp on the competition immediately?
We'll have to see what they can do, but it looks like we are loading into the game itself. If you want to participate in these in the future, make sure you register at myvesl.org to sign up. Available to all high school players in North Carolina, but we will have to see how this matchup goes. This is a best of 5 2v2, so it's interesting because there's also like the 2v2 tournament for Champions Road going on this weekend, so you get all the 2v2 action you could ask for this weekend.
And I got to appreciate the players that are showing up here. As we mentioned, that 2v2 tournament that is also going on, brought to you by Psyonix, is a huge competition. But these players would rather play here for VESL, get a little bit of a preview before the season starts. And honestly, we cannot commend them enough for it, especially if they can do so and win. Good start here already for Hitball.
Nice to see it there as well. Stinky Bus huge pop-up demoed by 2 players basically, and still not able to stop the shot from coming through. They said get down Mr. President, but it did not work out, and the shot still came off and able to put that one through. 4:44 on the clock for the first goal, and a nice look for Stinky Bus. And I expect Dark to play a bit more passive for their team, wait until they rack up some goals and maybe go for some freestyles afterwards.
I mean, it's a little bit of a difference between the different ranks that you will see. Oh, at Rocket League, I will halt my sentence for now, because as much as we're talking about Hitball maybe being the majority here, that does not mean that We Eat Food are out of this one whatsoever.
Whew. Nice goal going through at that point as well. Huge to see the tie-up so quickly afterwards, and that's a great look for We Eat Food. Again, a lower seed in this tournament. Then, of course, the side of Hitball, but even then, they went through the ringer to make it here as well. 8th seed in the tournament versus the 2nd seed. Dark from Homeschool and Stinky Bus as well. Esports Legends, a virtual school there. And on the other side, we have We Eat Food with, I think Heart System is Jade. And that's C-Tech and WECHS. That's a mouthful. And Northwest Cabarrus High School for Freeze. What a save there as well.
Freeze doing their team proud. Unfortunately, they can't do much more after with a Rule 1 in net and an open goal. That's going to be a 2nd goal there. Honestly, well played from Stinky Bus, just recognizing he's Freeze. Not a lot of boost. That's a quick jump, and that's an easy goal.
Now we got to see what the side of We Eat Food can do to bounce back off the kickoff, and Heart System putting it through. An amazing time goal. That seems to be their strategy. Wait for a goal to go through, get the kickoff, and that's their best look so far.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, if there's one thing that can be said about 2v2 versus 3v3 is that kickoffs do seem to be a bit more volatile, and honestly, at a very high level, that's not too surprising. 2v2 is very much about individual prowess, being able to carry an offense or a defense by your own, and on breakaway plays, being either to prevent them or follow them through. Like you mentioned before, Dark's probably going to play a bit more of a defensive role here. They'd rather have Stinky Bus control the offense and clean up where necessary. Good example there. Dark already turning away from the play, but when the miss happens on defense, they are prepared for the shot.
Good turnaround as well from Dark. Knew that there wasn't really a chance from the defense to stop that shot from going through, so just had to tap it in. Nothing too fancy. Easy enough to get the job done, and already so many goals going through. Big kickoff strat though for Stinky Bus. Smart strategy there. And Dark with the angle. That's insane of a slice to put it in.
That is quite the angle out of Dark here, but I have to commend them on recognizing that. Yet another trick kickoff coming through here from We Eat Food, and they're not going to let it happen. This time they're going to plant on the backboard, read the fake, and just bang it out to their teammate. Well played from both Stinky Bus and Dark, and really already putting their name in this tournament immediately. We are 90 seconds into this one. We have 6 goals scored, and although it's been somewhat back and forth, like we said, really got to pay attention to Hitball here. This is a team that once they get going, I do not think they're going to stop.
Whew. Solid shot from Stinky Bus to get that one away too. Very dangerous position defensively for these pressuring moments that We Eat Food are going for. But again, still down by 2 goals. They got to be careful not to overextend themselves until you don't have that 3rd man back on the rotation. So if you full send, well, there's no chance for you to actually make up that ground, getting back to your side and stopping some of these shots that come through. And that's why the kickoff strats have been a little bit more effective than you might see in a 3v3 matchup.
Oh, 100%. At this point, we're also now starting to see the midfield battle develop between the two teams here, although maybe some backboard defense could be necessary. Dark and Stinky Bus not wanting to go up for that one. Maybe a little bit wiser to it than I was, but at that double touch going on target, who knows where we'd be. Instead, at halftime, down 2 goals is We Eat Food, and Dark trying to increase that lead. Got a flip reset in the bag. Can he do anything with it? Absolutely not. Heart System's going to take that one away, but Stinky Bus on the backup. Take it off the ceiling. One touch, not going to be found, and the immediate challenge out of Heart System will send them back into their half again. As much as we've talked about this being a more one-sided affair, I have to commend them. We Eat Food are not bowing down to this resistance.
Solid touches coming out from them as well, as you mentioned, not bowing down for a moment, giving it their all in this game. Dark with the slow roll, though, tried to bait them out as best they could, got a potential setup, having to recover those Stinky Bus for the double tap, and a great defensive effort by Easy to Freeze and Heart System. Might be a chance for Stinky Bus off the rebound there, but Heart System, a great defensive effort, and just trying to be like, hey, get out of the net, get out of the net. And they're just connected there, waiting for a 1v1 situation here for Dark to take this away.
I mean, they found some success off of that already. We had a Rule 1 in net, and I guess we kind of have a Rule 1 here. I hope that the camera can switch on over for a second, because I think that it's not really a Rule 1, but Stinky Bus is abiding by it. They're just continually getting pushed away, and maybe not to the benefit. He'll actually back out of the Rule 1, and they get punished for it. This is why you don't break those. Karma comes back.
Huge there. As we do see Stinky Bus try desperately to save it away, but it's not enough. Easy to freeze, easy to score on that shot and get it through on the back end. Just a minute remaining. This has been such an eventful game so far, Bass, with our second and 8th seeded teams giving it their all, but of course, Dark proving why they are one of the higher ranked players in this tournament for a reason.
Yet it's another kickoff goal, though. This was a little bit more earned, I will say. There was absolutely a save that could have been made there from Freeze, but it's really the precision of the shot from Dark that is able to get it past. But it's been a very chaotic, very volatile first game here, and I don't expect the rest of the series to necessarily look like this, but I also don't believe that this is how Dark or Stinky Bus thought this was going to go. When Hitball came into this competition as the highest seed in this entire side of the bracket, you were expecting more plays like this to be the commonality. Instead, they're finally starting to hit those stunting plays, those double touches, but it took them 4 minutes to do so.
Oof. I was talking about that too. He was going to play a bit more passive before, set up his teammate, and then once the goals went through, pop off afterwards and showcase their skill. And that's exactly what we have seen from Dark as well. I mean, they were able to make it with their team from NCCA in the Independent Conference to the state finals and got top 4 there. Very close to making it to that grand final matchup, but unfortunately lost out to all their opponents in that event. They won the Greensboro Regional, though, with Dark leading the charge, and well, now with the Stinky Bus player moving on over to Esports Legends School, trying to do all that they can for this next season of VESL, really expecting big things from them.
See if he can do something big here again. Dark, reset in the bag, second reset in the bag. Are they going to let him get a third? Maybe he might have needed that one. Not able to get past the defense, and now Heart System with time and space, or maybe less time than I initially anticipated. Stinky Bus is continuing with this very offensive game, but it's not going to make much of a difference. Game number 1 definitively in favor of Hit Ball here. It took them a second to get going, Vaudable, but once they did, they started to dominate. A 6-3 victory here to end this one is definitely nothing to slouch at.
Great start for them. Stinky Bus looking for the full court dribble, but they might not be able to get it. Dark maybe going for a setup for an own goal now. They're just playing with the ball at this point, seeing how far they can take it down. That is one of the rules of Rocket League. Keep it up at 0 seconds and easy to freeze. Still keeping it up somehow. That looked like it might have touched the ground. Not so lucky that time. One final shot, but no one's there. Hitball does get game 1. And a great start for Dark and Stinky Bus on their tournament journey. Looking at the stats here as well. I mean, the 4 shots, not having to really go for many demos. Maybe demos is the name of the game that we need to see from We Eat Food.
I will say part of it is also them keeping up the offensive pressure that they had early on in this one. If you look at it, shot total does go in favor of Eat Food, and I don't think that was unintentional. This is a team that, as we saw, when they had no hesitation, when they didn't fear going towards the ball, that's when they played the best, catching Hit Ball off guard, the challenges they didn't expect. Playing a midfield that didn't allow free transitions for Hit Ball was key to them staying in this game. I don't know if you noticed, but in my opinion, Vaude, by I'd say the second or third minute of the game, you started to see the hesitation. Hitball hit one good goal, and all of a sudden it sent shivers down the spine of everyone on We Eat Food. They need to stay aggressive. They need to stay in the face of their opponents. If they lose that courage that they had to start this series, I don't know if they're turning this one around.
We'll have to see what they can do. I think a good start for We Eat Food would be for them to get an early goal and just rack things up afterwards, play a bit more defensive. And looking at Heart System, the 8 shots, I mean, really doing everything that they can to take on this Hitball roster. So I'm liking the looks from them. We'll see if they can carry their team forward into a potential lead and move from there on out. The biggest thing that you can do against this team of Hitball is make them doubt themselves. Once they start doubting themselves, I mean, it's hard to get the morale back in any situation. So we'll see once we get into this game. But even then, again, we'll see what happens.
This is a very important match, I will say here, for We Eat Food, though. They need to make sure that they win this one, because as much as I do believe that they can stay in this competition, and that we've seen that through the first game, which was definitely back and forth, they still need to make sure that they do not go down 2 games here, because then it's reverse sweep territory. And not only is it reverse sweep territory, but you're going to have to play for 3 straight games perfect. If Hitball gets even a single one of those, that's it. They're moving on to the upper final and guaranteeing themselves a spot in day 2, regardless of the results there. So for We Eat Food here, they need to build some momentum, not only to immediately start the second game off, but to just kind of show to Hitball that they can continue that resistance. Like I said, resistance was very clear through the first couple of minutes of the first game. After that, you could clearly see where Hitball found their spaces, found their comfortability, and just kind of ran with that. So for We Eat Food here, for both Heart System and Easy to Freeze, I want to see them, like I said, stay aggressive, stay in the face of their opponents, and just not give them the room to develop these plays.
Well, we'll see once we get into this game how things go for game 2 of this best of 5. So, again, we'll have to see what goes down for this specific matchup. In the background, though, it's going to be a great one to see who moves forward, because, again, if you win this series, you're guaranteed to at least make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point here, is that just winning even your first matchup of the day goes an incredibly long way to guaranteeing yourself a spot in day 2, and also being able to guarantee yourself, well, I'd say the greatest chances to getting in the money here for this competition. Again, it's one of these things where you're not out of this one if you lose this first matchup, but that's only 1 spot in the lower bracket, versus just making it through the upper bracket finals guarantees you a spot in day 2, no matter what. So I'm excited to see the second game. Like we said, it's more all eyes on We Eat Food here. They need to make sure they hit the ground running. Otherwise, this is going to be a very rough series for them.
Yeah, so we'll see once we get into this game. We're just delaying on some stuff in the back end and getting things all set for game 2 of this series. But we'll let the players know that they are good to join and get this match going. So again, this is still a 1-0 lead for Hitball versus We Eat Food. The winner of this has to just get those 3 game victories to move on to the next one in this series and this pool specifically. So see how things go. Hitball looking for 2 in a row to see if they get the 3-0 sweep and have a shorter day for themselves, or if they do fall to We Eat Food, again, they will have to come through a longer journey tomorrow if they eventually win that series. Nonetheless, though, first 10 seconds going well for Dark. Changing up the defense, though. Stinky Bus just getting in their heads a little bit there.
I mean, this is exactly what we talked about. Stinky Bus is definitely going to be the majority of the offense for this team. Hitball, no, Dark's going to be the best player in this lobby, so they're going to hold him back for only the moments that are necessary. And right there, I would absolutely say so. Really good play there to Stinky Bus, just kind of bumping everybody on defense, completely discombobulating them and giving them no time to try and find a way out. So as soon as Dark goes in, he can guarantee himself at least a touch, and when he puts it perfectly on target like that, it's a goal every time. Huge for them, and like we said, for We Eat Food, who are just trying to build momentum after a rough end to game 1, this is kind of the opposite of what they were hoping for.
First 30 seconds, pretty solid after that first goal for the side of Hitball. And Dark into the corner this time, looking for any answer to get this out of their side. A good challenge by Heart System. Easy to Freeze, just waiting for their moment to strike. A good setup, Heart System. They have a chance here. They get the shot, and that is a perfect challenge from the side of We Eat Food to equalize.
And this is the one thing that I keep on talking about, is that you can't hesitate if you're going to try and beat this team. You see the double commit, and immediately Heart System dives in, does not wait a moment, shoots on target, and that's how you have to play this team. If Stinky Bus and Dark believe they're the faster players in this lobby and want to use their sort of in-between, going at Mach 7 speeds and then taking seconds to break down the pace of play, take those moments where they do break down the pace of play, make a challenge, make them uncomfortable. Like right here, somebody's got a challenge. Dark eventually Easy to Freeze does, but by that moment, Dark has already gotten it downfield. This is going to be a problem here for We Eat Food. They need to make sure that among...
Solid from Stinky Bus on the setup for themselves, but Easy to Freeze delaying perfectly with 0 boost in the net to stop the shot. The courage that is needed, and just having a mental of steel, making sure that they knew, regardless of where that challenge was coming from, they could stop it.
Stuff so far from both of the teams here. Again, the 1-1 even out almost immediately after that first goal. It's got to feel great here for We Eat Food, but it's definitely been a majority of offense here for Hitball. Can they do anything with it, though? Pass out center. Stinky, a little bit more boost. Probably would have gotten them a goal, but instead it's now time for Dark to try and contain this at midfield. Pop up, Easy to Freeze, not going to get past them, but where is Stinky Bus on the rebound? They'll be there, touch off the sidewall. No shot going to be found, but oh my goodness. We Eat Food maybe playing with their food a bit too much. Keeping that close coming off of defense might not have benefited them. They will turn it into an offense, but my goodness, was that scary for a moment.
Dangerous position to be in, of course, for hit ball, but now they are turning things around in their favor. Double commit on the defensive end does work out for a moment, though. Heart System, no boost to work with that time. Easy to freeze in a dangerous spot, but does deflect it away perfectly. Still no boost for either player. The demo comes out, but a perfect clear to buy enough time to at least get a breather for We Eat Food. The way they're going toe-to-toe with this higher seeded team and giving it their all, I'm loving the ingenuity from them on the play and just not giving up for a moment, regardless of the odds from what we saw in that last game.
Again, it's the midfield presence and this aggression that they're coming out with that is affording them this amount of space and affording them this many chances. We noticed it on that play, we noticed it on the play prior, and really even right there. The ball's bouncing out towards midfield. Almost any other time you would want to try and move into a defensive position. Instead, it's the constant challenges out at midfield that are just not allowing a second goal to come through here for hit ball. It hasn't resulted in a goal for We Eat Food yet, but considering they haven't made too many mistakes out at midfield, it's afforded them to stay in this game. 100 seconds left to go. They need to, like we said, take advantage of this game. You don't want to have to reverse sweep against hit ball, and although you've been able to tie the game thus far, that is not enough to take the win.
Time ticking down, a lot less goals than the last game. More of a chess match between these two teams. Defensive effort again from Heart System to save that away, but a double commit, a dangerous spot to be in. Stinky Bus needs to take advantage of this, gets the delayed shot, has the follow through, but there is no chance to get that goal just yet. Dark knows that they are just having to play a bit more defense this time to keep this at an even score line, but going for the full court musty flick freestyle play. I liked that, but unfortunately they got denied access to the ball for a little bit there, but they have a chance for the setup. There's the follow through and a brilliant play.
That was everything they've been waiting for there, though, is the double commit out at midfield. That aggression that we've talked about, those constant challenges eventually come back to bite them as low boost on both of the players retreating, eating food, or kind of at the whim of wherever that ball is put by Dark. And when he perfectly lays it on a platter to his teammate and serves him up, well, that's goal every time. Good stuff here from Hitball, just waiting for their perfect opportunity and doing the most with it when it arrives. They do that again. Dark, flip reset in the back. Kind of takes away from Stinky Buzz, but he didn't communicate that to his teammates. Stinky backed off the ball, got the bump, and if Dark recognized that, that's another goal for the team. Instead, it's a pitch the other way. Not on in, off the bar and out, and the save after.
So close. Would have been a beautiful tying goal for the side of We Eat Food, and they were about to eat up that goal, but no, not easy enough for them to finish things off. Somehow deflect away in the last moments, and this might be a 2-0 lead just by a thread between these two teams. Art System trying to do everything that can, though, to get things still progressing forward towards that net. Needs to rotate back around in time, but Dark denies them access to net with time ticking down.
Still got a little bit of time left, though. There's anything that could happen at this point. I was hoping the pinch out might give them a chance, but not gonna happen here. Somehow, some way, We Eat Food being so close and not getting enough here. I gotta say, Hitball, you're doing a great job right now, but it's the patience that has been so impressive for them. We Eat Food have tried to dive at everything, and despite that fact, Hitball have not broken underneath the pressure. This has been very solid. This has been a really good game here at a Hitball, and it makes me think they're gonna take this one in a clean 3-0 sweep.
That was a close one, too. I mean, looking at these stats as well, we had Hitball out shooting the other team 11 shots to 5, so that's 6 more shots than they did. And had more demos as well, but look at those saves from the side of We Eat Food. 6 saves, just enough to keep them competitive throughout that game. So this is a best of 5, again, as a reminder. So we continue forward into this next game. So we'll have to see how things go down once these teams get all set up on the field. Waiting for Easy to Freeze. Join the lobby. You only have a little bit of time. Come on. There we go. Okay, good. We're getting into the game now. I was worried a little bit there that we'd have to reset, but now we are in game 3, and this is uncharted territory for the side of We Eat Food. Can they get a game at least against Hitball? Will they have to have one more shot at things in the lower bracket?
I gotta appreciate that. There's the fake kickoff we've been waiting for. Every time we have seen this out of We Eat Food, they've tried some kickoff shenanigans. This time, though, it's the other side that do the most with it. And I gotta say, that is a beautiful 50 and a great follow-up.
Huge to see here from the side of Hitball. We do see the players kind of, you know, talking a little smack to each other, but it's all in good fun there as well. And oh, so close on getting the save that time from Heart System. Unfortunate, again, the kickoff's not going in their favor, and they need to change up the strategy there. Dark almost went for the demo, and then another demo follow-up. That just feels like something Calm would do.
It very much does, but again, when you're in a lobby like this where you know you're the best player on the pitch, why not try to stunt a little bit? Those demos are really going to be so useful for the team, especially against a team that, like we said, keep diving like this at every play. This time they'll take a little bit of hesitation, though. Easy to freeze. I was going to say, played that well, recognized the flip, saved some boost for the save, but apparently did not save enough boost for it.
So close. And again, this is what we see happen a lot of times, Bass, when it comes to defensive games. You can really only hold up so much from one game to the other. Some teams are able to do it all the time. We've seen it happen with like the old Row 1 roster where they were able to just be defensive all the time. That is a top team in the world in the past from what we've seen, and now we're seeing these goals come through, and this might just be the end of the road for the other team. But even then, it's so hard to keep up that consistency game by game when you are facing this kind of a team. And I got to give the credit where it is due to We Eat Food. I mean, gave it their all in the last 2 games, doing everything that they could, but eventually you meet a wall that is hard to overcome. They still might have another chance later on in the bracket, depending on how they do, but even then, they can be happy with how competitive they kept that last one.
I mean, again, this is just one of the many difficulties that Rocket League shows when you play up against an opponent that is just a little bit more skillful than you, is that, yeah, you can try and play to their level and play against them for a couple of games, but it's the adaptations afterwards that really separate teams. And once you started to see those constant challenges out at midfield, like I said, the aggression that I was so complimentary of through the first couple of games from We Eat Food, eventually Hitball started to recognize those challenges. And once you recognize those challenges at midfield and start playing for possession rather than just beating them for 50 after 50 after 50, you can start to play around said aggression, play around those constant challenges at midfield, and really once you start beating said challenges, it gives you so much extra space to work with. So it's not a bad strategy from We Eat Food here. The unfortunate thing is, once Hitball were wise to it, it was very difficult to stop them, and this third game really is such a great example of that. Although, here's some resistance. That should be a goal. Cutting the lead down to 3, and with 3.5 minutes to go, there is still technically a world where we can see We Eat Food extend this series.
Huge to see from the side of We Eat Food, not giving up without a fight, and that's what we like to see. Saying be careful in the chat, just having some fun, as you can see there. But even then, 3:28 on the clock. Gotta see what Easy to Freeze can do to set things up. Dark just playing it slow. He's got the confidence, and that's where I said they are most dangerous on this Hitball roster. Once they're confident, they know they can take on the world, but they might be overconfident here as it's wide open, and they just left themselves up to that attack.
This was a little bit uncharacteristic of the team. I can understand why they go for the pinch initially. The double commit into offense afterwards is more where I have my confusion. As we've spoken about, Dark has been a lot more defensive today. He's been allowing Stinky Bus to make those challenges into offense and really playing behind midfield, or at least in the back third, in case of the worst case scenario. They didn't do that there, and it came back to bite them, but the good thing is they still retained their lead. 3 minutes to go, a 4-2 scoreline still in favor of Hitball, and they're trying to increase it. Dark, pass back to Stinky Bus. Stinky. Oh, trying to play with their food now at this point. I'm starting to recognize that they're baiting them into challenges, Fod. I don't know if it's the best strategy, but it's working out here. Stinky gets around the first on defense, and on offense, plenty of time to stunt.
Huge maneuver there from Stinky. Waited for the player, baited them out, faked that they were going left, and still went above the defender when they couldn't do anything about it. Just had to wait and watch it go over top of them. Unfortunate spot to be in for the momentum of We Eat Food. Their stomachs are full, but their hearts are empty as they are looking for an answer in this game and this series. Still have yet to find it. Stinky Bus almost with potential dagger, and Dark wisely so taking this back to their side, trying to waste seconds on the clock.
Dark off the ceiling. Got a flip in the bag, turns it into somewhat of a musty, and Easy to Freeze doesn't read it well. Awkward on defense, and for a second there, that could have been the dagger, but instead, We Eat Food. They play on, trying to take this one through the corner. Dark going to go for the immediate pinch out, and it will succeed. Not on target, so as long as Hard gets a touch here, they should be okay, but they don't. Stinky gets the flip reset off the backboard, but eventually is denied. But unfortunately, that's led to even more offense here out of Hitball. Will they get a goal from it? Not quite yet, and actually numbers advantage the other way as Heart System tries to take this out of the corner. Easy to freeze, though. Recognizes the lack there of the first touch and won't make the challenge. And now we start getting into a little bit of a chess match here. The two teams recognizing when to make challenges, and it's not going to turn into a goal here for Hit Ball, at least not quite yet.
Might be a chance, though, for another goal from Stinky Bus. He's trying to take on the world here. Goes for the backflip. Heart System just had to watch it go over top again. Unfortunate position to be in. You don't know exactly how to challenge that, especially when Stinky Bus is feeling so confident and you don't have any boost to work with.
Yeah, this is a hard one to try and save, but it's an even more difficult one to try and shoot on target. Props to Stinky Bus for recognizing the little bit of awkwardness and just barely being able to get enough on it. Now about 100 seconds to go. I think we got to sit here and accept the reality that has been given, VOD. This one's going in favor of Hit Ball. Yes, there is technically enough time for We Eat Food, but the big thing that we've talked about is that the shot totals are going further and further in favor of Hit Ball instead. My goodness, as that is their 9th shot now versus only being 5th from We Eat Food. So even if they had scored all of the shots that they have taken at this point, VOD, We Eat Food still would be behind in this game.
Rough spot to be in for sure, but even then, gave it their all as they could throughout this matchup. Still got a couple of goals and kept it competitive as they could. It just proves to show that this team of Hit Ball are top competitors for that top 2 prizing that we were mentioning before. The $1,500 on the line for this tournament itself. An MVP, of course. I'm sure Dark is looking out for that potentially. $100 to the MVP at the end of the tournament.
I mean, look, we can say Dark's name, but at least in this series, I have to give it to Stinky Bus. A total of, let's make sure I do this right, 8 goals in their favor. In this game, they've dropped 1,000 points by themselves, and although Dark has had a myriad of assists throughout this entire play, it really has been the forefront of the offense from Stinky Bus alone. They've done so much good work in just pushing into offense, keeping the pressure on, and just not allowing We Eat Food to ever find any comfortability in this series. And so they're going to take the 3-0 here with 15 seconds to go. It is all but a formality, and I think Dark might have heard us. He went, nah. I get it. Stinky Bus might be the offense, but that's only because I let him.
A good look from Dark there, as you mentioning. We talked about that too going into the series. Dark knows that they have the skill, and usually the higher MMR player is better served in these 2v2 matchups to play more defensive and stop shots from coming in and set things up, and that's exactly what we are seeing. But as you mentioned, you still need that finisher, and that's who Stinky Bus is with another goal coming through. A beautiful setup.
I mean, again, props to Dark for the setup here. Stinky Bus pre-jumping this one so early, and the slot there, the perfect angle, top right bins. And my goodness, if that isn't a way to just put an exclamation mark at the end of the sentence, that is this series. 8-2, the victory here in our final game of it, and I can officially say the final game of it because not enough time on the clock to really change anything up. Not a bad performance out of We Eat Food. They played valiantly, but against the 2nd seed in this entire competition, what more can you do, VOD?
Not too much. An unfortunate spot for them to end their upper bracket run for now. But hey, there's a single elimination bracket tomorrow. No upper and lower bracket, so there's still a chance to get there for the side of We Eat Food. They still have another matchup awaiting them against the loser of Nightcord at 2,500 hours and 6th seed GCs as well. Whoever takes the loss there will face off against a hungry We Eat Food team who we know is going to give it their all.
I mean, this We Eat Food team, they definitely have proven they can fight up against any of the competition in this thing. The issue they had is they were never really able to overcome Hit Ball and the pressure that they kept putting out on offense. We talked about this. Stinky Bus just continually dove into every single challenge, whether it was warranted or not, too. But again, that's kind of the point of it, is that Dark was happy to play a defensive role. They were happy to wait all the way back on defense if necessary and just allow Stinky Bus to make the initial challenge every single time. It's why, despite the fact that Stinky Bus has, you know, like we said, the most and the majority of the offense throughout the series, they also have all the saves in this game because Dark was allowing them to make that initial challenge. Even on defense, if they transitioned back, Dark knew that they had to be the second option every time. And my goodness, when Dark did get involved in the play, we can see the impact.
That we did. So unfortunate for We Eat Food, but very fortunate for Hit Ball as they were able to take the victory in a 3-0 sweep. Kept it competitive throughout the entire thing, pulled off some amazing shots, and again, the winner of that next series that we'll have here in just a moment, Nightcord at 2,500 and GCs, will face off against them to see who gets the top seed out of Pool 2. But Bass, I mean, not too much to really talk about here after that series. What are your final thoughts before we head on over to our first break of the day?
I came into this one saying you got to pay attention to Hitball. I'm walking away from it saying it again. You need to pay attention to this team. They may not only be able to win this group, but they might be able to win this entire competition. With the way that Dark was playing, we kind of already knew he was going to be an X factor, but it is, in my opinion, Stinky Buzz that really showed up the most there. Not only because they were the majority of the offense, but because they were more the question mark here. Could they play up to the level of their teammate? Could they continue the consistency that you would normally see from a player like Dark? The answer, in my opinion, Vaughn, a definitive yes. They've proven that they know how to gel with this player. They know how to play with them. So if they can keep that type of performance up, the sky's the limit for this team.
We'll have to see how things progress for the tournament moving forward. But we're going to be taking our first break of the day. We'll be back in a couple minutes with that next series after this. Welcome back, everyone. We don't want to wait too much time, so let's quickly get into the bracket and show you the updates for now for Pool 2/Group B. We have Nightcord versus GCs coming up next, but we just saw Hitball get the 3-0 victory over We Eat Food, moving on to that upper bracket final. Again, GCs... Oh, wait, that's incorrect. It should be We Eat Food in the lower bracket final, but regardless, that lower bracket final has We Eat Food in it currently, and maybe that's a prediction here, Bass, on if GCs get taken down by Nightcord in this matchup.
I mean, anything's possible at this point here. I don't necessarily want to count out either of these teams, though, as this is going to be a little bit closer between our two seeds. It's the 6th versus 7th seed here overall, so in my opinion, this really could go either way. The reality still does stand, though. We've seen it today. Even if you are the lower seed, there's 100% a world that you put up enough resistance to keep it competitive. So for both of these teams here, it's the same idea. Hit the ground running, play as best you can, and just make sure that you don't start off the series slow. Unfortunately for We Eat Food, they kind of had the opposite issue. They started off the series hot, but as time went on, Hitball just got them figured out further and further.
Well, let's come back to our faces, then quickly get into the game itself. We don't want the players waiting for too much more time. They have been patiently waiting for this matchup. This is a school rivalry, by the way. Enloe High players versus Gaston Early College High School facing off against each other. So these players are good to join the match. We'll get into game one of our second best of 5 of the day, Bass. And this one, it's probably going to be super competitive too, as we were mentioning that. Both very similar seeds, both similar MMR averages between these two squads. That's typically how we went about with the seeding. We took the MMR averages from what we saw their current MMRs on the season. Since the season's basically over, it's coming out soon, the new one too, Bass. But what's also coming out is this first kickoff of this game.
Indeed it is. We're ready to get this one started here between our two teams, Nightcord and GCs. And the first thing I'm going to notice as soon as we get into this one, though, is that we've talked about it. A lot of players in this one have not been able to get to SSL necessarily, like Dark, like we mentioned, that 1800 elo, the threshold that normally is the boundary for everybody. Here, though, you can also get it technically in Rocket League in other modes. And the first thing I'm seeing, Season 13 Supersonic Legend, Nightcord might be a bit more improved than we had previously anticipated.
We'll have to see if that's going to be enough for them to take on the competition and move forward. Again, they did really well in the upper bracket to qualify initially, not losing a single series where their opponents in GCs did have to go through that lower bracket and came out on top of the end. And I got to give a shout out to their opponents that they faced off against before. A guy by the name of Avery, who was able to just showcase really good sportsmanship. They had a disconnect right before a goal was scored in game 5. They were able to review everything. The admins, made the right decision. The players all accepted it. Super good sports about it. And unfortunately, they did end up losing that series to this GC's roster. But I have heard, due to some shenanigans with some of the tournament stuff going on in the background, they are still giving a second chance to that player who is playing on one of the other rosters in Pool A. So, hey, you know, you're a good sport. You get to participate in more events, and well, being a good sport also means you can score some good goals here for Kumori, who's getting that first one too.
I mean, well, you know what else is going to help you stay in the event? Scoring goals and winning the game. I think that'll also be relatively beneficial here, and Kumori seems to know it. That's, like we said, our singular SSL in this lobby, or at least confirmed. Many of these players might have been able to get close to that before, but Kumori guaranteeing that and already looking like the MVP in this lobby in particular. Not only do they have the first goal that was just scored, but they have 3 saves already. So it's not as if Nightcourt, oh no, I was going to say, just kind of cruised on by here. They've had to play some defense, and they do it again, and it'll result in a goal. Off the backboard, Kumori just has to put it in, and they will. And my goodness, GCs from the best open possible to just disaster.
So unfortunate for GCs there, but as you mentioned, I mean, having someone who was a former SSL, regardless of what rank they are, they know they have the experience. They've been playing the game for a while, because what season is it coming up to now? Like,
dude, I don't know.
So many. Either way, because they like renamed it. They went back to like what Fortnite did too, where it's like, oh yeah, we had all these seasons. Now it's back to quote unquote season whatever, 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5, and that's already been one of those seasons. It's kind of confusing. Either way, though, what isn't confusing is this lead that almost was able to strengthen even more so there. Kumori being the leading factor, 2 shots on 2 goals with 3 saves, doing it all for their team. But can GCs bounce back? That is the question.
They got time to do so. 3 minutes left here on the clock, and Jax, not necessarily the best touch of the corner, but the hesitation on the backup there. Wazdi did not want to dive into that play for fear of getting caught off guard on the counterattack. It's already happened once, so instead, they'll take it from their own half. Rebuild yet again. Racer, though, a pass out center that is not received by their teammate. Instead, Kumori getting the second touch out of the backboard, and looking for their teammate, won't be able to find it. But again, wise play here from both of the teams. Kind of the opposite of what we saw in our last series. It is not about diving into offense and just keeping the play going. It's about playing safe defense and waiting for the opportunity. Feels similar to what we saw in game 2 of last series. Not really the rest of it, though.
Now Wazdi looking for that flick. Solid play as well. Like the confidence on the challenge. If it was a little bit faster, would have been a goal, but who else but Kumori was able to stop it in its tracks, and Jax puts it through themselves. Perfect patience in the middle, waiting for the setup from their teammate and the right time to strike. Knew that Racer Ave wasn't able to stop that one at all and had the perfect moment to put it through.
3-0 here with 2 minutes to go. It's not necessarily the most surprising thing to see after we saw Kumori with what I would say be the highest peak here out of anybody in the lobby. And the performance they're putting in right now is backing that up. 2 goals, 1 assist, 4 saves, and they're shooting this off of 4 shots total. So they're shooting 50% overall. Now they might even have to get yet another save or not. Touch off the backboard. Not going to be enough here, and Racer has to sprint back to make the save. They will, and their teammate will bump into them. And Wazdi making up for their mistake, though. The flick off the half was crucial. Otherwise, that's an immediate shot and goal from Nightcourt.
Time ticking down for the chances for GCs to do something here. Off the backboard, though, couldn't get the follow-up, but that it was actually almost a delay enough for the finish. Just off the mark, they needed to get that goal, and they're going to want that one back, especially with Kumori on the attack, but will be a bit wide themselves. Oh, Racer Ave? Can they do it? Can they go for it? There's the passing play to Wazdi.
There it is.
There it is. Full court carry almost for them to get that through.
I could feel both of us holding our breath with this extra touch out of Racer. We knew there was a world where Kumori still gets back to that one, but such a heads-up play. Wazdi diving in immediately, because there's 2 realities on that one, Vod. Either the goal goes in on its own, or you get the 50 and slam it past the defense. The angle was just too tough for Kumori to keep that one out, but they might make up for it. Off the backboard, where is Jax on the rebound? They're there, and they do put it on target. For a half a second, I thought they put it wide, but that'll do enough to regain the 3-goal lead.
Oh, that's where it's rough in twos, but also Wazdi was taken for a ride. They got taken to task and bumped around, and unfortunately for them, they could not get off the ground in time to stop that shot. They were just on the warpath that was in the way of their opponents. The goal went through and crushing their chances to get that potential comeback, but still with 50 seconds, it is technically possible they can get 3 in a row. After that one, we did see from them that they had to fight tooth and nail for. These delay plays from Jax are just on another level to wait out the team they are facing off against for their perfect moment to strike and go from then on out to try and close out game 1 and move forward to that matchup where if this Nightcourt team continues to play this way, I feel like we're going to have a really good second round match pass.
I have to imagine so. The way that we're seeing this Nightcore team play is not only impressive, but it's giving me very similar vibes to Hitball of understanding the roles of the players here. Jack is definitely going to be the more offensive player between the two, and it's not for the sake of Kumori not being able to, but because they're happy to back their teammate up and get involved when necessary. And that being said, Jack is still doing a very good job on defense. Maybe a little bit of a shaky touch there, but overall these two players are doing great, meshing together and giving themselves the win here in game number 1. A 4-1 victory is relatively dominant in my opinion.
That it is a great victory there for Nightcore. So we'll have to see what GCs can do to bounce back themselves. I mean, plenty of shots from them, too. Just the defense that much stronger from specifically Kumori, who MVP performance themselves in that game. So we'll have to see how things go on.
I mean, it's the exact same shooting on both sides here. 9 shots apiece for either end, and it's not as if GCs did not have a ton of defense as well. 4 saves to WASD is nothing shy of impressive. It's extremely solid, but the big issue is, again, we talked about it, Nightcore really solid with the, I would say, follow-ups here. We saw it often, is that Kumori does have more shots than Jack, but Jack has the exact same amount of goals as their teammate. Why? Touches to the backboard. GCs were doing a good job at blocking anything that was shot on target, but if it went to the backboard, went to the side wall, they had difficulty reading those plays, and that was a lot of the goals we saw there out of Nightcore in that one. So I'm not saying that this series is out of hand, but there's a very clear difference between the two teams and a very clear improvement that GCs need to make. They need to start playing the backboard defense. They need to start preventing these passing plays from getting connected. Otherwise, Nightcore, they're going to do the exact same thing they did in the last game and probably even improve upon it.
Well, we'll have to see now on Forbidden Temple what these teams are going to do against each other. Will it be GCs bouncing back or Nightcore taking the lead and only needing one more game win to move on and face off against the favorites of Hitball? These team names, again, as we mentioned, just brilliant at that. But even then, we have seen some brilliant plays from all of the players on the field so far. We need a little bit more from GCs. Jax just really tried to go for some pizzazz. Maybe was going for a musty, trying to ground pitch it or something, but even then, not enough to get over 2 defenders who realized they had to both go up for that one to save it.
Off the backboard, Jack trying to get this to their teammate, and Kumori, oh, there's the lack of backboard defense, but it's not going to make a difference. And honestly, again, I think it's from the lack of backboard defense. Kumori going up expecting a 50. The challenge never arrives. He's not prepared for the double touch, and I guess at this point, it's going to take some adjusting from Nightcore to recognize, hey, if they're giving you that free space, take advantage of it, or go for passing plays like this. Save on the line, another necessary. How about a third? Was the off the backboard, and finally the escape. And it's going to turn into a goal the other way. Kumori on no boost somehow escapes.
Oh, that's gotta hurt so much for the side of GCs. They needed that goal. They almost had the lead. They saw it in front of them until it was ripped away out of their hands. It fell like sand. And so to do their ashes at the goal line. But even then, Nightcore reign supreme like we saw in the last game in the first minute here. The last moments, but even then, still need to see GCs not give up without a fight after that. They were so close to getting their first lead in this series, and now we do see another opportunity for them. Kumori, of course, being on that defensive end, and Racer Ave knows they have to be a bit more passive here. That's unfortunate.
I don't really know what else to say besides that. It's unfortunate. I think you kind of summed it up right. The shot goes out. Racer looks like they've got... Yeah, I was going to say, Racer looked like they had that. I think the issue is that WASD was expecting that to at least get to the backboard. Once they realize it's dropping on in, they dive for it as quickly as possible, but at that point, it's a little bit too late. Game 2, not nearly as smooth for GCs here. It's not as if they're playing a bad game, but unfortunately, the 2 goals we have seen so far have both come off the backs of mistakes.
Oh, that's a rough spot to be in for sure, but even then, off the backboard it goes again of the side of GCs, and they need something to work out in their favor. There's just been a series of unfortunate events for them in game 2, and another rough spot to be in as well. They get the technical save, but they can't stop that forward momentum on the ball. Kumori's shots have just been too powerful.
I mean, he's just been so good at also following these shots up. And again, we were very complimentary of Jax in the first game for doing that, but here in game 2, Komori's recognizing they're giving him enough time to follow up his own touches. It doesn't have to be passing plays, and I think that's honestly one of the biggest differences in this game just overall is that the backboard is still not necessarily guarded, but they don't need to go to the backboard at this point. They've seen it's an option, but realistically, shoot on target. If they're going to keep making challenges and you know you're faster than them, as long as you get around them, that's a goal every time.
Well, now we got to see what the side of GCs have in the tank left to answer against this squad of Nightcord, who have had every answer to the plays that we have witnessed up to this point. WASD trying to see if they can go for a different kickoff strat, but the fake comes out from their opponents, leaving them wide open with no boost. And that seems to be the case a couple of times here. No boost is the story for the side of GCs, and if they can work on that a little bit, they'll at least have some more resources to work with to get these saves, but they were both in an odd spot to try and stop that, and not exactly where they wanted to be on that defensive end.
I'll be real, Vaughn. This is not how I saw game 2 going whatsoever here. Maybe Komori just recognized the fact that they were, like we said, the most proficient player in the lobby and are just taking advantage of their usual speed versus everybody else here. But game 1 really was such a 1-2 combo between Komori and Jax for Nightcore. Game 2, it is Komori going, I got this by myself. 5 goals on 5 shots. They were technically 5 for 4 because one of their shots wasn't even registered. That's the first missed shot they have had all game, and it still keeps them at 100% shooting.
That's a rough spot to be in, too, when that happens. Those kind of score lines and stats against you, and you're just hoping for something to work out in your favor, and you're facing off against a person that's peaking as much as Komori is, to say the least. But even then, they still have another game at least after this one to see if they can pull off a victory. We thought ourselves going into these initial matchups that, you know, based on seeds, based off these matchups, it's typically going to be maybe 3-1 or 3-0s for that team who came out on top in the upper bracket. That's what we've seen so far, but even then, the pitch play might be enough, and it is, for them to put it through. Unfortunately for Jax, who was actually a part of that one. We'll see in the replay, Racer Ave deflects it off of Jax, I think, but it was technically just a Racer Ave clear. Nonetheless, though, a great goal to at least get one on the board this time for the side of GCs.
I gotta say, I don't know how many more volatile goals we can get in this. Okay, well, there's another one, isn't it? This is going in, ain't it? Oh, what? Okay, it's not. Never mind. Oh, it is. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my prior point now that I've got a second here. The volatility in this game and the way the goals have come through have been spectacular in maybe all the worst ways, but maybe all the best ways, depending on who you are.
Oh, it's such a rough spot to be in, but nonetheless, we go again is what you got to learn here at the end of the day. You continue forward, can't give up, no forfeiting, and we'll have to see how they go. Nonetheless, though, Komori, MVP performance, even more so than I would say we saw from Stinky Bus in the last one. Doing it all for their team. Jax, of course, no slouch for this squad, but I think Komori just on another level, offensively, defensively, wherever they need to be for their team with the consistency we are seeing. Very curious how that potential matchup against Hitball will go. Even then, though, Komori demoed for the play. Racer Ave has to get back in time to at least hold on to this ball. And wise decision to pop it into the corner by themselves, at least a moment of fresh air to get this out of their side as best they can. But even then, they are unsuccessful.
A moment of reprieve, and quite literally just a moment at that. The immediate challenge at midfield afterwards kind of stalls any sort of offense that was being built here, but they get back out of the corner. Jax trying to stall it yet again, and I don't think GC's realized that they actually had more time on that play. Eventually they'll dive in, but they maybe should have continued the play and grabbed boost while they had the chance, because instead, WASD, no boost in the tank. Going for a 50, gets it out to Racer, another 50, won by Komori, and they'll do it again! Another play where Komori uses every ounce of boost in their tank and 50s through the entirety of the offense to transition into a goal. How?
Cannot be stopped is what we are seeing here. An amazing performance from Nightcord yet again, specifically Komori too, who just seems to be eating their Wheaties. Got some good breakfast ready and studied up for this tournament test, and they are acing it across the board. Ready to move on with their professional career afterwards. They continue to score up. Oh, that's a rough spot to be in. They do give one up, but even then, 8 seconds left, kind of garbage time.
It's not going to change the outcome of this game whatsoever, but it is going to show you exactly what we've been talking about. GCs are no slouches. The unfortunate truth for them is they're facing off against a player that, I mean, you talked about it, Stinky Buzz put up an incredible individual performance in the last one, but I think that was due to still some resistance against their opponents, scoring multiple goals in multiple games. This one's been a little bit different. They do give up 2 goals here, but it is still yet to ever get nearly as close as it was in Game 2 of our last series. Nightcore proving they want that upper bracket spot, and honestly, it's going to be difficult to take it away from them.
Well, we'll see how things progress going into that potential final game. And GC's no slouches in the shots as well. 11 shots to their name. I mean, giving it their all as best as they could, but even then, a rough spot for them to find themselves in. We'll have to see once we get into this next one exactly how things progress for them. Can they get on the board a bit more so? And they looked so good at the start in that first minute. They almost had the opening goal. They almost had the lead. It was just a slow train wreck for them afterwards. And I would have to say a lot of these saves that came through from Nightcore really saved the game for them. They weren't able to be that defensive. Well, it would have been a rough spot for them to be in. Either way, though, a great look to see how things are going down for Nightcore. We'll see if they can continue that consistency going forward. And that's the big question. Will that be more consistency coming from Nightcore, or will GCs wake up enough? I mean, they have woken up. They've had so many shots. They've had so many saves. It just hasn't been enough.
I mean, it's not bad. I think the biggest issue we're seeing, though, and again, that's why we've mentioned 2 different goals where Kumori just straight 50s their opponents and then immediately gets a goal after. They need to be careful here. GCs are really setting the house on a bunch of the plays that they're having right now. And, well, it's not a bad strategy. If you come up empty, there's the results. Team needs to be a little bit more careful. I think Game 1 was really impressive because they played carefully. They didn't overextend themselves at any moments they didn't need to, and that's what allowed them to stay in the game for a majority of it. They kind of put themselves out of that game almost immediately with the amount of dives they had into the offensive third with nobody prepared on defense. So here in this third game, I have to hope that they take a step back, take a moment to breathe, and recognize this is still a winnable series. They just can't afford to play this aggressively.
Well, Jax looking to play aggressive this time, though. Eraser Ave, not the connection they were looking for. Wazdi, notorious off the kickoff, not really having much boost to work with, so a rough spot to be in. A good dodge, though. Demo still comes out onto Eraser Ave, but still could have gotten possession, but Wazdi just didn't have boost that entire time. They need to pick up those pads and at least have something to work with so they can go against this squad of the side in Nightcore, who have been having such a struggle so far. Komori, though, and Jax both up for this one, trying to pass it in front of the net and go for something crazy, but they're just faking them out, not knowing if they're going for a pass, not knowing if they're going for a shot. Well, they're going for a goal, and that's exactly what they get.
We'll get the goal early here, not even a minute in, and Kumori already showing once again they don't need any help to get this one done. They fake out a pass center. That's why you see Racer and Wazdi jump for it. The thing they don't know is that Kumori's got probably about 5 to 10 boost left, and that's all that they need to get that one extra touch, get it past the entirety of the defense, and honestly, get it past Jax as well. There's no way Jax knew that was coming through, but it doesn't matter. A goal is a goal. A win is a win, and if they win this one, they move on to the upper final, and already starting off strong with an early goal is huge for this Nightcore team. Not done yet, though. Like we said, GC's already playing a much more defensive game. They're not overexerting themselves, Vaughn. This should be a much closer game.
That it should, and that's what we'd like to see from this GC squad. They didn't get the connection they were needing for that goal. A little bit of a miscue between these players, but I think it's more the pressure just getting to them against this squad that they are facing off against. Nightcore proving to be such a tough force to go up against and make you second guess yourselves on every challenge because you don't know what they're going to do. The demo comes through yet again, and this aggressive play style, the changeup that we are seeing from Nightcore, is exactly what they need. Komori just dribbling that perfectly into the goal.
This is so clever out of Komori as well, because you can see the exact moment that they fake out trying to go for a reset right there, and the extra touch is where Wazdi realizes, I have to challenge now. The thing is, if they not gotten another extra touch, they might have been able to make the save, but Komori's control right now mid-air is unparalleled by anybody in this lobby. The first goal was a great example. The second goal only further emphasizes this. So, in comparison, we need to see GCs try and find some sort of resistance with similar finesse and prowess. The mechanics for this team team have not been bad. We've seen them make multiple solid air dribbles, but they need to complete one of those. Like we said, they're so scared about overexerting themselves into offense because that's what we saw in the last game, that they're not completing many of the plays they're going for. Speaking of not completing the play, I don't blame Nightcore for not finishing that one, but that's got to hurt that they had a chance for a third goal and just kind of let it fall by the wayside.
So close, yet so far. I don't know how that one didn't go in at the end of the day, but even then, a rough spot to find themselves in. Now we do see Jax looking for an answer. Kumori the other direction, and there it goes yet again. No boost in the tank for the side of GCs, and that's been the biggest struggle for them, is that boost management. Of course, facing off against this overwhelming offense of their opponents is another struggle, but that's kind of more of a given from what we've witnessed now. WASD, though, can't really do too much. Racer have nothing in the tank, just still going for the challenges. I feel like they're just trying to ego and fake the other team, having all the aura they need for the victory.
Honestly, I don't blame them at this point here. Like we said, it's not necessarily a formality, but with 2 minutes left to go and this large of a lead, you don't need to score anymore. You just need to hold on, and you're through to the upper final. Jax trying to see if he can get some more on the board, though, and I think he's going to make, the immediate follow-up challenge. Wazzy was not prepared for that. Luckily enough, though, Racer was, so they'll try and take it out of their own corner. Passed down, intercepted by Kumori again. Just the speed from this player has been so difficult for anybody to handle, and I think that might give them even one more goal. No, Kumori instead will wait a second, gets it off the sidewall. Now it's open, and again, the decision-making from this player, the timeliness of their challenges is so hard to compete against.
Rough spot to be in for sure, as Kumori able to put it through yet again. So look forward for the potential victory of Nightcore and the face-off against Hitball, as that matchup is going to be legendary for what we have witnessed so far. Both of these teams have a chance to actually take that victory, but even then, WASD not going down without a fight, and that's exactly what we like to see.
And this is the type of play that we like to see as well. Pass out of the corner, Racer immediately follows it up, gets it to the backboard, and the hesitation from Jax is the only reason this goes in. This is the balance that they need to strike here, Vaughn. The unfortunate thing is they have found that balance with 90 seconds to go. A 2-goal deficit still in favor of their opponent. So Nightcore at this point, try to hold on. For GCs, I know I've been saying play a little passive. Stop doing that. Goals like that are how you're going to make it through. I'd love to see this full send attitude finally getting a chance again.
1 minute left on at the clock. There might be a chance here for Jax to get this away. A dangerous spot to be in. So we almost saw a shot come through, but a good clear out nonetheless from the blue half. Racer can't really do too much. They do get the demo and a delay in front of their net. WASD, no challenge in sight. They go for the flick up. Racer in the awkward position that leaves it wide open for another shot.
I understand it. It's, again, the full send that we keep on talking about. At a certain point, you just have to go for balls like this just for the sake of, even if it doesn't work out, you need to sustain your offense. With 40 seconds to go, at this point, it really is dive into every play and hope something works. And with a lackluster touch out at midfield, that's a goal every single day of the week. Interesting stat, though, Vaughn. That's the first assisted goal in 2 games.
Wow.
Kumori currently has 4 goals in this game without a single assist. And in the last game, they had 6 goals without a single assist. Jax had a goal in the last game, but it was also unassisted. So a little bit different to what we had seen earlier in the day out of Hitball. This team is not trying to play together. They're trying to play individually, because although that was the strategy in Game 1, they're proving they've got the individual prowess here in Games 2 and 3.
They're working together defensively, but that's the most that we have seen them do. They're like, okay, you know, we defend this base together, but after that, it's free game for whoever gets the ball to go for a shot. And I respect it. I mean, when you have this much skill, that much confidence, and know that you can take on the world, well, no one's going to be stopping you there, as Nightcore take the victory in this series. The 3-0 sweep, as we look at the stats here. 9 shots from Kumori. Not a single one from Jax needed for the victory that time. Clean and simple for the side of Nightcore to move on to our next series against Hitball.
And a well-deserved victory at that. Like we said, this was a series where our first series of the day had a couple of times where it really was back and forth. Game 2 was a 2-1 victory in favor of Hitball, so We Eat Food were very close to taking the win there. This one kind of felt like the entire way through, Nightcore had this one to a T. They knew how to play. They played well throughout the entire thing. And again, 4-1, 7-2, 4-1. The smallest margin of victory they had throughout that series was 3 goals in their favor. This was a very solid performance from Nightcore.
that's a dominating performance that we saw from them too. We also saw some decent performances on the other bracket in Group A. Again, reminder to check that out on the YouTube channel as well if you haven't been tuning into it. I think they still have a match going on, but it's also on the VESL GG at Twitch channel. Currently have Seekers versus SpongeBob Puzzle. So those rosters a little bit different with the situation that was going on in the background, but we got Impala and Real World facing off against Nutella and Rye for President with SpongeBob Puzzle Show, I think it was. Yeah, SpongeBob Puzzle Show, great name. Facing off in that series, and they got 1 goal in game 2, but they also have a 1-game lead as well. So we're gonna be taking a break here, Bass, in just a second. But now, looking forward to that next match. I mean, the sky's the limit, I feel like.
I feel like coming into this day, we mentioned it a lot about how we thought Hitball was going to clean sweep through this group and have a pretty confident victory in order to take the #1 seed. Now, looking at what we just saw tonight, Core, I don't know how confident I am in them just having an easy way through this bracket. I think they're going to find some resistance, and I'm hoping they're prepared for it, because if they come into that series trying to play the same, I think they're in for a rude awakening. Either way, we're in for a good series.
Also in for a cat feature. There we go. You can kind of see her. Either way, though, we're going to be taking a break. We'll be back with that next series after this. Welcome back, everyone. We have our first teams that are looking to qualify for tomorrow. It is Hitball versus Nightcord. We saw them dominate their matchups with 3-0 finishes, Bass. And now this is going to be a very intense one. While we take a look at the bracket, let's kind of break down this matchup.
This is going to be an interesting one here. It's 3-0 sweeps from both of our teams coming out of our upper bracket semifinals. Get here, and again, one of them more expected. Hitball, the highest seed in this entire group, took a dominant victory to get through, but they saw some resistance from We Eat Food. However, we thought it'd be pretty close between our 6th and 7th seeds here in Nightcord and GC. Instead, Nightcord come through with a 3-0 sweep and do so in dominant fashion, winning 4-1 twice and 7-2 in the other game. This was a very impressive semifinal, which leads us now here to our upper bracket final, where I think initially we probably all came into this one with the same idea. Hitball taking this without a second thought. Now, Nightcord arrive here in the upper bracket final, and I honestly think it is anybody's game to win.
Well, let's tell the players to hit the field and let them know it's good to go so we can get into this game between Hitball and Nightcord at 2,500. Because this is going to be a solid matchup. These two teams are wanting to go the distance, get at least into the top two, and regardless of who gets the victory, they'll be on opposite sides of the bracket, thankfully there, so we might see a finals rematch, depending on how things go. Nonetheless, though, Hitcord, that's combined the two teams, Nightcord and Hitball have their work cut out for them for the victory. Dark almost able to secure the gold there, but still denied by the woodwork. So close. The Stinky Bus. I love the rename. #1 Bob's Ramen fan. I mean, I might be #2 then.
I can understand it. Everybody loves a good Bob's Ramen. Everybody just loves a good ramen. And honestly, these are high school players, so they better get ready for it. They're going to need to love ramen as soon as they get to college as well. That's just kind of the standard here. But I will say, I'm already seeing a significant difference between this game and the last couple we have played. This offense has continued for a while, but rather than just succumbing to the pressure, look at the resistance being shown by every player on Nightcord. Like we said, this is going to be a different series. For either one of these teams to get gold, they're going to have to earn it.
Solid play from Dark here as well, as you mentioned, trying to earn these goals. And Jackson knew that he couldn't really do anything in that scenario, so wise decision to get the boost instead. Some shots so close to passing that goal line in the demo, crucial for this momentum to still continue forward for Hitball. Kumori and Jax, I mean, we saw how defensive they were able to play in that last series with tons of shots that they denied right towards the goal line. This is a different story with this caliber of a roster that they're facing off against.
They're also doing a good job of doing something we haven't really talked about throughout any of the series here today, but boost starting the defense here. Komori still has some boost in the tank for this one, but his teammate had to go all the way downfield just to try and grab a couple of pads, and now it's left him in this awkward defense. Good thing is, though, doesn't really look like the immediate follow-up there from Stinky Bus is going to happen. Instead, went back to midfield to try and patrol because they also were low on boost, and now the transition the other way could cause some problems. Stinky needs to make the save, but for really, I would say the first time all game, we see Nightcore break out of their half and work with some offense.
Oh, Dark almost able to get a connection on that one. Would have been enough to tip it through, but did not get it, unfortunately. Maybe was just trying to leave it and see if it would fake out the defense, but the transition for Kumori, too strong to be stopped as they get the first goal in this game.
We've talked about it. Komori's individual prowess cannot be underestimated, and you can see it right here. Stinky takes a second thinking they have the time, and Komori goes, oh, you poor fool. Immediate shot on target, and with a 1-0 here early on, this is the difference. Hitball, like we said, a great 1-2 combo where they continue to put the pressure on unrelentingly.
Wow.
And also get kickoff goals, something we didn't really see in the last series. But Nightcore more waiting for their opportunity. They'll need to find another one after that, though.
Just 2 seconds later, able to score themselves and get on the board against this team. We saw the difference between these squads in those last 2 series where Hitball worked together, and they did get a couple of kickoff goals, but they were susceptible to them themselves, and another fake kickoff happens this time, and we might see a goal go through, and that's exactly what happens. They went for the fake kickoff strat. It did not work. They got demoed for their efforts, and, well, that will bite them in the butt yet again as they are down by 1.
Unfortunately, these fake kickoffs, they might work against players at a lower level who don't really see them all too often at their rank and don't know how to recognize them. I hate to tell you this, Komori's probably sick of fake kickoffs at their rank at this point. They've probably had enough of them, and okay, never mind. Kickoff goals, apparently they can't escape. They can escape the fakes, they can't escape the goals.
Oh, this is just so interesting with how intense things were in the first 2 minutes of play, and now it's just kickoff goals galore between these. So we'll have to see what's going on between this matchup and the next game in this best of 5. But either way, eventually someone needs to get a stronger lead than just one. And well, we are seeing Stinky Boss with the shot and the slot. The one who was able to pop off the most in that last series of Hitball.
Again, another kickoff goal, and I'm okay with it because this is actually a pretty impressive shot out of the corner here, but I'd like to return to some normalcy, less volatility, and a little bit more of a breakdown that we can have between the two teams because, again, that first couple of minutes were so impressive to watch, whether it was the defense being shown by Nightcord here or Hitball, who have, like we have said, have found a way to just combine the two players to keep this offense flowing. It's been so impressive. However, now they're going to get some more offense here. We get past halftime, and can they work with it? Dark around one, but not around the other. Komori makes the save. Stinky still there to keep the pressure on, though, and the touch out center, not going to make any contact, and Dark will take advantage. He sees the miss, his teammate gets the demo, and that's about as free as they come.
Whew, what a play. The demo is perfect, and that's the lead that we were looking for either of these teams to get. Hitball proving that they are on another level yet again, even with it being so close. Tied up for a little bit, back and forth action, but now proving that they are superior, at least for now. 2 minutes and 10 seconds counting down from there, still remaining, and plenty of chances for Komori and Jax to get involved on offense. And the biggest thing we're looking out for them is some passing plays, some teamwork. That's what was missing from them in the last game, and we'll have to see them improve on that if they want to take down this Hitball team, who have everything working out for them so far.
Oh, Komori, they'll want to break out. This is not what you want to see if you're a fan of the team in blue. I don't know if it's necessarily going to actually work out for them, though. Komori trying to set up Jax, but Jax might have bit off a bit more than they can chew, because here come the 50s the other way. Komori has to clear this out to the corner just to try and alleviate pressure, but starting to look a little bit like Pee Wee soccer out here. Nightcord playing way too close to each other right now. Neither player wants to back off the ball and play the more defensive role, and I think it's due to the time left on the clock. 90 seconds to go and only a handful of shots here for everybody on this Nightcord team means they have to hustle. But if you play too much hero ball, if you overexert yourself, it can come back to bite you, or it can come back to get you a goal. Again, Komori so quick on the transitions, and they find another.
Great transition there, bringing it back within one. Komori is able to hit that into the center of the net. No one stopping them, and of course, Komori being the one to pop off for their team yet again. Consistency coming through, and that's what we were talking about for both these teams. Will they be consistent enough to showcase their skill in these games where it matters the most, qualifying for the top 4 if you win this one? Both teams guaranteed a playoff bracket berth, but an easier run if you do make it through this time.
Komori trying to see if they can keep themselves in this first game. A minute to go, and all they need is one goal just to see an overtime, but they found some resistance on a lot of the transition plays that have been successful for them so far. That's definitely not unsurprising, considering we've seen Dark do exactly that. Recognize that they have the lead, start to play a bit more defensive just to try and play preventative ball rather than adding on to the lead they've already built. It's not a bad idea, and it's working out right now. Midfield completely dominated by their opponents, and my goodness, if Nightcord aren't getting away with highway robbery on that one. The fake on the initial play caught him completely off guard, and now with 20 to go, they cannot afford to keep playing defense like this.
Time ticking down, and so are their chances. But Komori, who else is going to be the one to pop off? They center it, but their teammate is not there. The passing play need to go through. You have to send everything in the last moments. Even if you don't have boost, you can't afford to let up these chances go by the wayside. A shot comes through. Dark will simply get the save, and no time remaining. If there was a few more seconds, could have been the Sharks surrounding them to take them down in the water. But no, they will surface and survive. Hit ball, take the victory, and with 10 shots from Dark, leading the charge for their team was just enough for them to get it by a mere margin.
Sometimes it's nice to show that we actually do know what we're talking about here. We mentioned it in the last series when we watched Hitball play that Dark really did take a backseat role in that one, and it was incredibly intentional. You could tell by how they played that Dark didn't want to be the forefront of the offense. They were happy to let Stinky Buzz continue to take shots. You could see the moment in this game in particular where they recognized that was not going to be the successful game plan for another series in a row. Stinky Buzz still does have a decent amount of shots here, but it's the fact that Dark goes, okay, I need to get involved in offense, and puts up 10 shots in the first game of this series that you can see they know how to play their role. They know when to play defensively. They know when to play offensively. they know how to play around their teammate. In comparison to Nightcord, where, I hate to mention it, 3 goals to Komori, 1,000 points, and 5 saves. Jax, 1 assist, no shots. They need to get more involved in this. They need to play as a duo because the individualistic plays we saw in the last series are just not enough against a team like Hitball.
We'll see what happens on Forbidden Temple this time. Can Nightcord get the lead yet again and strengthen it enough to get the victory? Again, if they got 2 in a row, they would have been that much better against this Hitball team, but it was just such a rough spot for them. Moving into this game, too, that is the change that needs to happen. They need to get that lead even stronger than we saw before because 1 goal proved to not be enough against this Hitball roster who has the synergy we are looking for in a 2v2 tournament. But Komori able to get this aside. We saw another kickoff strat coming out already from the side of Hitball, and they are just pulling out everything from their arsenal to try and take down their opponents.
I respect it. Again, I love fake kickoffs. I think the only time that I have problems, oh my goodness, with it is when they're overused and they become too generic of a play to where your opponent can read it. I don't think we've gotten there, but it's definitely clear. Nightcord are not getting caught off guard by these plays nearly as much as the beginning of this series. Like we said, they see it in an up in ranks. They don't want to see it here in a tournament, but they also might want to see some good defense there. Stinky not going to be able to get a good flick there, but with low boost on everybody on defense, the job is not done yet.
That is the main name of the game here for Hitball. The job's not done yet. And Dark going for a crazy double flip reset into the net. The most insane goal we have seen today.
What is the setup here? He just completely side flips it off the wall, uses every ounce of boost to get the final touch. And my goodness, we talked about individual plays not being enough. That might only be the reality for one team.
That was mind-boggling from Dark.
One of the best plays I've ever seen.
That's going up on TikTok later, I'm sure. But even then, Stinky Bus getting the boost, suffocating their opponents. I think if you want one way to take the wind out of the sails, get rid of the morale that your teammates on the other side are having with each other, that is the way to do it. Pull off a crazy highlight play like that. But even then, Stinky Bus and Dark need to remain humble. They can't afford to get overconfident in this match. That's just 1 goal of many that they'll need.
Oh, there's another maxed out
reset.
My
gosh.
And another one. He's still got a reset here, huh? And Komori's just going to let it go through. Okay, not exactly sure about that one. I'm going to assume it's a little bit of lag here because that's the only other reason. Because, look, great plays again. That probably shouldn't have gone in, though.
Oh, man. We'll see if Komori keeps moving. Otherwise, we'll see how things progress. We don't have admin perbs on this side of things, so depending on how things go, we may just have them play on. It says they're DCing, so fortunately we don't have a way to stop the game itself. So they'll have to play on.
I just need a server reset after this one. Unfortunately, it's we're early enough into this one, it makes sense, but a 2-goal lead is pretty hard to take away from an opponent. Oh, but it does look like they're a little bit back now. Maybe they can get a goal back and keep this one somewhat close. Mori trying to make the challenge here. Doing so cleverly, though. They know that they don't need to immediately challenge here. And I think both teams are starting to recognize, okay, we're back to normalcy here. The question is, does that actually favor Nightcord now? Now they're getting a little bit of reprieve, a little bit of slowness to the momentum. Can they find a goal of their own? Dark pops it up high. Where is Komori? Waiting on it. They do not want to overexert. And again, understandable plays, but they got to take advantage of some of these opportunities. Too many chances being left at the table.
Fortunate that the second play that we saw from Dark has a little asterisk on it, but even then, good to them for not fully going for the challenges and just trying to take them down initially after the DC issues were happening. So good sportsmanship again from these players in this tournament. Love to see it. Now Dark just wanted to prove that they can get this victory, not just because of connection issues, but also because of raw skill. And there's Komori proving that the DC didn't matter.
Like I said, Komori's got the mechanical skills. They just haven't been showing them as much as their opponent, but this extra touch baiting in the defense. I mean, you can even see it. Stinky thought he had him dead to rights. He had a full tank of boost and didn't even use the boost because he went, all right, well, he's messed this air dribble up. That extra touch came by the surprise of everyone in the lobby, and it's cut the lead in half. 2 minutes to go. This is 100% doable for Nightcord here, and as we said, they kind of need to. Reverse sweep territory is not something you want to have to face here in a series like this, and you also don't want to have to face Dark continually stunting on you.
Oh,
Dark, you might have bit off a bit more than you can chew on that one, though. The reset midway through the air dribble with maybe 10 feet off the ground. Not sure if that's beneficial.
Rough spot to be in for the side of Hitball. Felt a bit overconfident. We talked about that after the first goal. It's like, that's only counts as one. They need more goals where that came from for them to get the victory in this game. Could easily see the comeback from Kumori, specifically them, if they do pull off these plays. But even then, we'll have to see what happens.
Dax trying to take this one slowly. Clever to steal the boost from Dark, so even if they do get this downfield, this shouldn't be a quick transition, and it definitely won't be. Dark not even going to be there for the follow-up, but wait a minute! Jax may be thinking they had even more time than they actually did here. I'm not sure if it's because Kumori got back or they just didn't recognize that Stinky Bus stayed around, but that shot should have never been given.
They'll take it.
For real.
Especially with how close it was coming down to the wire. They'll gladly take that one in stride. Minute 26 seconds here. Dark looking for another one. Full field push with the flick to the other end, but no finish in sight. Trying to freestyle and pull off some more clips, but Stinky Bus, that's all they'll need to put it underneath the crossbar.
Oh, this is such a nice play at a Stinky Bus altogether here, recognizing they have a ton of time in the corner, so all they got to do is keep it close. And with Jax on 0 boost, that's a Hail Mary save if I've ever seen one, and unfortunately, those don't always come out to fruition. Huge plays here out of Hitball to continue their, I wouldn't say dominance, but the advantage that they have here. Game 1 a 1-goal game, game 2 looking like it might be 2, so I think you can imagine what the third's going to look like. Oh my goodness, or we could still see the turnaround. Nightcore not done yet, they are still fighting.
That was so dangerous of a shot and a barely save, just enough for them to keep them competitive in this game and the series itself. Dangerous spot, didn't know it deflects off the defender, but in the favor of Nightcore, they will gladly take that one. 1v2 situation, all that they need, and unfortunate as there was some traffic jam in front of the net. Served that on a silver platter for Jax.
There's only one criticism we have had of Nightcore Hitball throughout this entire day, and it has been that their defense occasionally do pile on top of each other and just aren't coordinated enough. With the amount of hesitation they had there with neither player really making the commitment into the save, eventually it does get awkward enough to find an opening. Another game with a 1-goal margin going into the final minutes. The difference is, this time, Nightcore, I feel like you're starting to find a way to get past the defense that, like we said, has their vulnerabilities. Can Kumori do it again? Fakes out on an under one. Jax not there in time, though. Need to be quicker on the follow-up because instead, with 25 to go, the ball back in favor of Hitball.
Not much time remaining, but there's still a chance for Kumori. 1v1 situation. Stinky Bus wins it out to the other side. Jax trying to keep it in play for now, but it won't be successful. Kumori, though, launches it like a dagger, but it's a bit too high and easily saved away by Dark. No boost in the tank, though, and no chances left. One final opportunity for Kumori if they can hold on to this and take the distance. The demo goes through, though. It just has to hit the ground. Kumori with the wow in chat. Gotta hurt at the last second there, but you gotta play with the best of them. Dark with a flip reset towards the ball, and it will touch down. Hitball get that victory again by such a thin margin. The exact same margin, actually. 4-3 in the last game, 4-3 in this one as well.
That is a bit crazy. I can't believe what we just witnessed, and it's unfortunate for Kumori, as again, it's the disconnect that really makes the difference between the two teams. But I will say this much. You got a chance to switch up the lobby, so they're readying up. It seems like it was just a hiccup. They don't care. They're still good to play. They're still ready to keep it going, and honestly, with the way that they played there, I don't blame them. Again, biggest criticism we have had of this Nightcore team, out of the very few we've been able to attribute to them, is that they haven't been able to play as a team as much. Individual plays have been the bread and butter of their offense. This game, the opposite of that. Every goal was assisted, or actually every but one, excuse me, from the one Kumori solo play. But they're playing as a team. The transitions downfield feel a lot more fluid. The touches off the backboard feel a lot better received. Overall, much better game from Nightcore. The only issue is, VOD, they're still down by 2 games. They need a reverse sweep here if they want to take it. And although it has been 1-goal margins between the two teams thus far, they now need to overcome said 1-goal margin and actually get a win.
Well, now we got to see how Nightcore come out with a victory in this one and move forward into the next game. Again, Hitball trying to do everything they can, going back to Forbidden Temple this time. A bit of a rematch themselves, and I love this map. I mean, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. I've always enjoyed Forbidden Temple. Oh my god, I've also enjoyed shots like that. Did not think that would make its way in, and it doesn't, but it gets scarily close. And once again, Kumori's team going to have to take a second to breathe. What about here? Dark Makes the save on the initial, but Jax there for the follow-up to contain the ball. The unfortunate thing is, though, I feel like Jax hasn't really been able to take too many clean second touches after said rebound. They've been able to stall the counterattacks the other way, but they got to find a way to keep possession close to them. 30 seconds gone here in the first opportunity for Nightcore, but they aren't really able to make much of it.
Now I got to see what Hitball can do, though, into the corner. This Dark was looking for an answer, and Stinky Bus, not really the best positioning that they could go for, but they still wanted to keep it progressing forward onto the orange half. Jackson, Mori just doing everything that they can to work together to get this out of their side. And that's what we missed from them in the last couple games, where if they did have that coordination, it would have been enough for them to potentially get the victory. DC's aside, the Komori 1v2 situation. Stinky Bus, wise decision to wait patiently for the challenge.
Stinky able to get around one. Can they get around the other? No, not quite. Komori well prepared for that challenge. And now they got to play some defense because of it. Boost stolen and awkward plays off the backboard. Going to make this even more dangerous. Stinky, though, not going to commit there. Recognizes Jax has the easy breakout and trying to prevent it, but they more just put it to the ceiling, and now Komori can step in. Watch out center. Not going to be enough. What about the follow? Absolutely! Dark thinking Komori's out of boost. That means he doesn't have a shot. Boy, Dark, were you wrong. That's an impressive follow-up.
Whew. Beautiful play from Komori. And this is exactly where we wanted to see them in this entire series. The first game, they got the initial goal and the lead. Now we see it again. They know it's do or die for them to get that bye in tomorrow and be guaranteed the top four. Only best of sevens having to be played by that top four. Even then, Dark won't be stopped and go down without a fight in this game. Unfortunately for them, though, no backup. Wise decision by Stinky Bus, though, to back off on that play.
Jax. Oh, I was going to say, trying to keep the
Dark,
offense going. Dark trying to stunt a little bit. He's had enough of Komori being the only player with some ground control. He decided he'd like to show his as well, but unfortunately not quite enough control. Too much power on it, flicks it to the backboard, and had another chance there to tie up the game from hitting ball that they can't seem to find the back of the net with. I really do think, in particular, it has been Jax stepping up in this game phenomenally. It would have been nice if they'd been there for the rebound on that play, but can't exactly blame them for not being prepared for it. Almost blame them for that one. A bit of an aggressive dive, but I like that. I'd prefer them to keep diving aggressively. It feels like they were hesitant coming into the series, recognizing that they're probably the lowest MMR player in this lobby. Now they've found a way to slot in. No more hesitation. Constant shots. The offense is flowing better, and even if Jax isn't getting the goals for his team, he's doing a great job at sustaining this offense.
2:14
now he's
on the
getting
clock, and Jax gets the goal. As you were mentioning, that's a huge one there. Again, the momentum finally in the favor of Nightcore. The demo comes through. Stinky Bus with no boost, had no chance with the power that was coming behind that shot. I know Jax didn't really have anything either, but they didn't really need it at that point in time. So huge lead, the biggest lead we have seen so far from Nightcore. But you just know Stinky Bus and Dark, they're cooking something up, but they only have so much time to do just that.
They need to cook up something, the two of them together, though. That's the only concern I have currently, is that this team has definitely not played as team-oriented as it has been in the past. Individual play still very much viable, but it does feel like they were at their best when they were playing as a team, passing plays with intention, being cut through the corners and through midfield. Instead, we're seeing this. Look at the hesitation out at midfield. Stinky tries to set up Dark, but Dark doesn't even want to commit. He knows the transition plays have been so solid for Nightcore that he can't overexert. So, Hitball kind of lost in no man's land right now.
Pogo.
They're trying for plays like this. I like the pogo, but unfortunately, again, it's just not resulting in goals.
Dark's just having fun with it, it seems. But if he could have been in position there, that would have been a goal. And unfortunately, went for the boost over the ball that time. So, does lead them to not having a goal so far off the backboard. And there's a great drop down, but no follow through. Stinky Bus knows that they should not overextend, and wisely so.
Mori, pop up high. Where's Jackson the follow? Eventually we'll get there, but we'll opt for the 50 in the corner instead. Dark does lock into a reset, but they don't really have a lot of boost to work with, so they will leave it as Stinky, but unfortunately no contact found. The first really intentional team play from the team we've seen in a hot moment, but unfortunately doesn't connect how they were intending. Now leads to even more offense here for Nightcore, who I was going to say are going to just contain this out at midfield, but Komori actually happy to take it all the way into their half and force Dark to waste all of their boost in doing so. Dark still doesn't have boost on their own end. They will boom one downfield, but again, what a difference in this game. Nightcore are keeping control in this one, the possession in their favor, and at this moment, Hitball, barring a miracle, I don't think that they're going to close the series out quite yet.
No, unfortunate for them, they have not been able to find anything in this game. Might be our first non-3-0 series, and looks like that is an inevitability. So, Komori looking to close things out here. Dark, though, goes for the challenge. Gonna wait things out patiently. Gets the first touch. Now just needs to fall through it. Drops down in front of the net. The save from Komori is just enough to throw Stinky Bus off of his game, and no chance for the comeback in this one. We do see a game taken by Nightcore, who felt like they could have gotten that last one as well.
I gotta say, it's not only the fact that they take the win here, though. Again, barring the fact that we do have a couple seconds left, as this one does hit the ground. It confirms it. Shutout victory as well. Neither one of these teams has been able to take a win here today without giving up at least a goal. Nightcore, that's their first shutout in their victory, and Hitball, that's the first time they've been shut out.
Wow. 2-0. Last two games, 4-3 each that we saw for Hitball. And the 10 shots from Dark, you would think something would have come out that time, but the defensiveness we're seeing from Nightcore is on another level that we haven't seen from any of the other teams so far today. So that's something to write home about for them, but we'll see if that'll be enough for them to move forward, pull this into reverse sweep territory for Nightcore, because that's what they need to pull off. They have to get a reverse sweep against Hitball to get that victory, to get into the top 4 guaranteed, not have a harder journey later on. But again, we still have to see what happens in this next game, Bass, because anything can happen.
I gotta say, I almost believe that the reverse sweep is possible. I'm not 100% convinced yet because there's a lot of work left to be done here for Nightcore, but that was the best game we've seen out of any team here today. Whether it be Hitball or Nightcore in their prior series, I still think that was more impressive because it's not as if, like you said, Nightcore just took the victory and just dominated an offense, dominated on midfield, all that. They faced a lot of shots out of Hitball. 10 individually from Dark alone means they had to play a stellar defense in accompanying two-set offense. So this was a great game out of Nightcore. That's everything we need to see out of them if they want to win this series. Again, the only issue, go do that 2 times more in a row and don't drop a single game while doing so.
That is the issue for sure, and we'll see if they can push past that issue and get the victory instead. Utopia Coliseum this time, though. Dark. Maybe the change of scenery will be enough for them. That would have been insane if it went through. Just trying to show off their mechs in this series, and I respect it, but again, mechs can only get you so far if you don't have that coordination to pull off the victory like we saw in the last game.
That's why freestylers, as good as they are, they do struggle occasionally to keep up with high-level lobbies and really pro play in particular. These guys, extremely capable. Dark, again, showing the mechanical prowess that I don't know if any player in the lobby can match, but unfortunately, mechanics, like you said, can only get you so far, and it's not getting them a goal to start off game number 4 here. It might even concede one. Dark has to make a lot happen here on the backboard, and they will. Immediate challenge follow-up, though, is going to be problematic because Jax lurking around. They just need to pass out center, or they'll fake it. The wait a second, clever plays. Again, the hesitation here on defense is understandable from Hitball, but it's affording so much more time for Nightcore.
Nightcore, they're just patiently waiting for this ball to come in their court. They're ready for anything to happen at any moment's notice. Dark and Sticky Bus, I mean, their coordination we saw in the first 2 games, another level. We haven't really seen too much from them since then. They've been kind of disconnected, and that's what I was talking about in the last series of Hitball, is once you get them to start downing themselves, that is where you're able to, well, I'm going to eat my food and my words there. As we see Dark just pulling off an insane play.
And this is one of the issues we actually mentioned with their prior opponent here from Hitball, was that occasionally, if you do continue with this very in-your-face attitude where you make dive after dive, if one of those goes awry and they recognize the dive before it happens, that's where the space is afforded there. And I can't really blame Komori for giving up a goal. They're in a 2v1 with no other options besides make the challenge. This, I'm not really sure what quite happened. It's a kickoff goal for sure, but I thought somebody... Oh, they both went for mid-boost.
Ouch. I've done that before.
Yeah,
so I understand it from these players. Again, you know, weren't quite thinking. We haven't seen the kickoff goal since game 1. So maybe that's where they're like, you know, we don't have to worry too much about it. But another fake kickoff comes through. It's not going to be successful that time as easily as they were hoping. But hey, it still makes them doubt and second guess themselves. And once that doubt is sowed in your opponent's mind, well, it makes it difficult for them to break free from it and get a victory. But Komori would be the one to do it if they slowed things down just enough to go for a flick, but got challenged before they could do anything with it.
Woo! Good flick from Jackson, the follow-up, and now here comes the boost starvation that they got to be careful of. Komori off the backboard. Dark does not have anything in the tank, but that doesn't mean they can't make the save. Shot down. Jax gonna find a freebie from a double. Never mind, it's off. What just happened?
Lady Luck on their side after an unfortunate event happened in transition on their defensive half. But again, they still stay with this 2-0 lead somehow, some way, which should have been 2-1 by that point. And again, another shot barely going by the wayside. That popped up above the crossbar. Would have bounced off of it nonetheless, but I don't know how that didn't go in, Bass.
I don't know how multiple of these shots haven't gone in. They've been on 0 boost forever. Hitball just trying to survive. That demo could change some things up, though. That's going to force Jax to retreat all the way to their own half and restart yet again. That'll afford space now for Dark to work with. And 100 boost out in midfield. Probably shouldn't let this happen, but they will! Try as you might. Dark on the transition with a full tank. That's a fearsome foe.
Oh, fakes them out a little bit there too. Thought he might go for the musty, but instead they just wait for them to sow their own defeat. The shot into the net by Jax might be the final nail in the coffin, at least for now, for the side of Night Court, as that's an open opportunity again for Dark, saved by Jax this time, and a complete collapse of the defense that we have seen be so proficient from Night Court, and that was almost enough again for the air dribble bump for the ball to go through. It's just been a bit too high on these shots.
Minute 40 to go, though. So I'm not going to count them out entirely, but I do have to agree with you. They've just been a little bit off. The precision just hasn't quite been there, or hasn't been enough to get past the defense from Hitball. And honestly, I'm not even going to say the defense of Hitball. It hasn't been enough to get past Dark. 6 saves to this player alone.
Wow.
And although we are seeing a lot of good play at a Stinky Bus, I do not want to undermine their abilities whatsoever. Dark has just leveled up in this game. I think they saw their first loss of the day and went, I will never feel this way again. And honestly, I'd be surprised if they do feel that way again, considering the play right now. A minute to go in a 3-0 lead. We just talked about how neither one of these teams had faced a shutout up until the last game. Well, they might not actually here, but I was going to say Hitball on their way to getting their first.
Less than a minute to go now to see what sorry, that's the other stream. What Stinky Bus and Dark could do to keep this lead going. As unfortunately for Night Court, they have not had an answer. It's a shutout the opposite direction, basically, where every game was 4-3. Then we saw a 2-0 victory, now potential for 3-0 or maybe more where that came from. Gotta say, valiant effort, though, for Night Court. They still make it into the bracket tomorrow, of course, with this loss. They'll be on the opposite side of this Hitball roster, so they'll have a chance to meet them again in the grand finals if they continue with the skill that we saw from them in this series and the last one.
I gotta say, neither one of these teams do I have any sort of doubts that they're gonna stay far into our bracket tomorrow. Both these teams have shown themselves exquisitely throughout the day. The unfortunate truth is, though, sometimes individuals can make the difference. The individual performance here from Dark, yeah, I'm not going to undersell this one even if I could. This was unbelievable. 2 goals here, 1 assist on 7 shots. They continued with that flurry of offense, but it's the defense that makes me take a second look. 8 saves from Dark there in that game alone.
Beautiful performance from Dark in that game specifically. But I also want to mention that if anyone wants to participate in these tournaments as well, you can sign up at myvesl.org if you are a North Carolina high schooler. There are more events going on in the future. There's a whole league that happens here for the Varsity Esports and STEM League. Now at myvesl.org, as you can see there. But still, we have more tournaments going on after this as well, Bass. We have the Smash Draft Clash happening on September 13th to the 15th for Super Smash Bros. Ultimates, with pro players being captains drafting from 48 high school students out of North Carolina. 4v4 crew battles for that. So if you are a part of VESL, join the VGC Discord and register to be in that draft and play with players like Esam, Zap, Mr. E, and Anarchy as captains that we have so far. Casted by EE, Rod, Haz, and Bam, with myself hosting. And then we have the VESL Fortnite 3K Duos Tournament Cash Cup format on the 27th to 29th of September. So lots to participate in. Even if you maybe play in this event, you're like, oh, maybe Rocket League's not my game. I might be into some of these other games. There's other tournaments to participate in. There's also the whole season in the fall. Registration closes on September 20th. So a lot to get involved with there, Bass. But we have one final series for today on this stream, and that is We Eat Food and GCs. And both those teams, I feel like, are going to give it their all in that series, Bass.
Dude, I don't know what to expect out of that one. I'm going to be real. I think coming into the day, I really expected this to be a little bit more of a one-sided affair where we'd have a good idea of who's coming out. I was wrong. Very wrong, and I can admit that. I have no idea what to expect from that lower bracket. The only thing that I can say is make sure to follow the channel. Make sure to stay tuned. Like we mentioned, we're going to have a quick little break, but when we return, our final series of the day here on the B group. I cannot wait, and you don't have to wait too long. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. We have figured out the name of one of our teams. I thought they were GCs, but they're actually Gaston Early College High School short form. I don't know why I missed that. I even said they were from that high school earlier, but again, that is what we'll call them, Gaston Early College from here on out. So apologies to that school and those players there. Nonetheless, though, they are facing off against their opponents here in We Eat Food. And again, We Eat Food, nothing to scoff at. I mean, they look so good against the top team that we saw recently, Hitball. I almost said We Hitball in that last series. And Gaston Early College High School, they have their work cut out for them in this series against this We Eat Food roster, I think, Bass.
They truly do. I mean, the results for both of these teams, if we look back upon the bracket here, were the exact same things. Both of these teams ended up getting 3-0 swept by their opponents, but I think the big difference in something that we've mentioned a couple of times here today is that Night Court versus GECHS was a pretty one-sided series throughout almost every game that was played. The minimum goal margin was 3 goals in favor of Night Court. For Hitball versus We Eat Food actually put up some pretty solid resistance there. They were able to even find themselves a 2-1 deficit against the team that quite literally just won this bracket. So We Eat Food, in my opinion, do come into this one with just a little bit more momentum. They were able to show enough resistance against Hitball that they probably come into this one the favored seed. But again, GECHS, I do not want to take out Gaston by any stretch of the imagination here. They still have the capabilities. This is still anybody's ball game.
We'll have to see how this ball game progresses, which is going to be our last team from Pool 2 joining the likes of who we just saw, Night Court and Hitball, as you can see, qualified in that bracket. Unfortunately, the loser of this one will be on the same side of the bracket as Hitball, who looks so dominant, but hey, maybe they can get a rematch against them for We Eat Food, or if it is the Gaston Early College High School roster taking the victory, them taking them down in the past. But again, we'll have to see how that progresses on who moves forward in this matchup. So good to join. We'll let them know, and we'll get into game number 1 of this best of 5, our final best of 5 of the night, Bass, and it's been a journey for these teams.
Absolutely. It has been a blast to be here both as the casters, and I have to hope that the players are enjoying it as well. Reminder, if you'd like to get involved in some action with VESL here, signups are still open. Make sure to look at some of the upcoming events here if you're maybe trying to get into a different game as well. But right now, let's focus on the Rocket League at hand, because the action is starting early.
We Eat Food is eating good already. Unfortunate on that deflection from WASD, though. They hit it into their own corner, was hoping to set themselves up for success, or at least delay things enough, but was not enough for them to stop that in its tracks as it went through and away from them. So, unfortunate spot to start in for Gaston Early College, but again, we will see how they progress from here on out.
Oh?
Racer Ave, though, almost an angle that they needed to cut it a little bit too wide. That would have been a perfect time to tie things up.
Racer had a chance there, but the good thing is they'll still keep this play going. More offense being generated here for GECHS, or I'm just going to call him Gaston from here on out. Now they know it's not GCs here, but Gaston's doing a good job of keeping the midfield presence here and the offense going. A couple of demos that have afforded them some extra room to work with, but still no goal to be found. Off the backboard, though, a lack of a touch, and I don't really blame Wasdy for not diving on that play, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. That was a great opportunity.
This might be another good opportunity if they can get this away from Easy to Freeze, who's leading the charge for their team so far. The patience of a saint on that play. No boost in the tank, but no problem for them to keep it progressing into the box this time. Dangerous cross in front of their net, but nobody really in position from the side of We Eat Food to do anything about it. Wazzy, though, trying to delay things enough, but could not get past Heart System this time.
Racer keeping the offense going, though. Gaston really have not taken their foot off the gas for a hot minute here. Shot after shot after shot, and had that one been on target, would have been the first goal, but instead it's a bit wide. The double commit, not going to matter, though. They both wanted that goal, but Wazzy will get it.
They sent everything that they had, and that's all that they needed to do to get this one. Wazzy's like, hey, I set this up for myself, not for you. I'm taking the initiative and takes the goal that time.
Can't really blame them. Like you said, they earned the setup there. They earned the goal as well, and with only 90 seconds gone here, I don't suspect that'll be the only goals we see on the board from either side here in regulation. It can be another goal here early from Gaston as they're trying to get something started, but unfortunately, unable to make a good first touch to the corner. Wazdy trying to back his teammate up, though. exactly find the touch and actually will pinch it all the way back to their own half, but Racer well prepared for it. Unfortunately, though, they have to forego the boost because of it, but they follow up immediately. I have to imagine Weefu thought they were a heck of a lot more, I would say, awkward, but they definitely were not. Gaston well prepared for it.
Barely dodging the ball as well, and Gaston Early College, perfect initiative to take the challenge when it needed to happen for the lead in this game. We eat food, unfortunately, going hungry that time. We'll see how many of those jokes I make throughout this series, but even then, Heart System, got to see what they could do themselves. They were the ones who really popped off the most for their team in that series against Hitball, and we haven't really seen too much from them so far, so maybe just getting warmed up. They have had to wait the longest out of anyone for their series to start, so that is the disadvantage to being in that first round matchup. But even then, this is the best of 5, so plenty of time to come back.
Touch out to the sidewall. See if they can get the comeback started here. Instead, actually, they're facing yet another 50 from Racer, who also goes for the follow-up. My goodness, this is just unrelenting pressure right now from Gaston. They are not giving a second to breathe here for anyone on We Eat Food. Maybe they should. This aggressive midfield has now left some room for a transition from We Eat Food. Can they do anything with it, though? I don't think so. Free's going to get this through the corner, but Heart System was all the way back. They thought it would be a transition the other way, not in favor of their team. So no follow-up found, and now actually another transition as this ball continues to ping-pong back and forth across this pitch with no signs of stopping.
Time ticking down, and so are the chances for We Eat Food to tie things up, but they might have it here. There's a great shot, but just barely wide. The save wouldn't have been able to come in time if it was on target, and we did see that issue happen a couple of times for this We Eat Food roster in the past. Inaccuracy plaguing them again, but they still have plenty of chances to bounce back from it, move forward, and get a victory for themselves. Bounced off the corner that time, and the other direction it goes for easy to freeze. Racer Ave, perfect patience, and I'm liking the improvements we are seeing from this Gaston Early College roster.
I have to agree with you on that one. It feels like they're playing a lot more coordinated. They're understanding that in this series they are going to be afforded time, so they're going to take advantage of it. And one time that they're not afforded time, look how quickly Wazdi is back and prepared to back up their teammate. I love this. They're not necessarily playing with their food quite yet, but they're doing a good job at baiting We Eat Food into so many of these challenges and keeping possession in their favor. At no point in the series has it felt like they've lost control. That time, though, they bit off more than they can chew. Wazdi not expecting the dive out at midfield, and the counterattack immediately hits.
Oh, that's going to hurt so much, especially when counterattacks go off like that. You know there's no chance for you to get the save. You have no boost, and you were being so aggressive, doing so well for so long, but only a minute remaining on the clock now to determine our potential winner. We still haven't had an overtime today, I've realized, Bass, so this might be our first chance to get there, depending on how these teams fare against each other. Wazdi looking for that answer. Heart Seeker not going to make, or Heart System, excuse me, seeking for a goal themselves. It's Racer Ave, a perfect demo to get control of the ball.
See what more they can do with it. Full tank of boost off the sidewall, looking for a double touch, but instead Heart will take it off the backboard. Now got time, space, and some boost to work with, but they have to expend most of it just to get it to the opposite sidewall. And that dive afterwards is going to do them no favors. Numbers advantage the other way, but does Racer recognize that their teammate doesn't have boost? Not exactly. The shot is found, but rather than trying to involve themselves in the play, they'll continue to let Wazdi run amok. Maybe they shouldn't have, though, because there ends the offense. And despite the good patience we're seeing here out of Gaston, they don't have a ton of time to work with. 10 seconds left, and We Eat Food with a final offense of this game.
Ooh, and that's all they need to crunch down on the competition that time and get the victory. Or a kickoff goal, 3 seconds left, a perfect passing play enacted by We Eat Food. Easy to freeze. MVP performance from them in this game.
I just didn't think Wazdi was going to go for that. And I think that's the only reason the shot is even found in the first place, is that for a split second there, We Eat Food are probably content to try and keep the ball up. But instead, Wazdi dives early rather than trying to play for the save. It's a bold call, but with only so many seconds left on the clock, it can come back to bite you. It's exactly what we see here. 3-2 in favor of We Eat Food, and I think we'd be remiss without mentioning
Look at the difference
Early
in stats.
College. I mean, the different stats, but also Gaston Early College had this one in the bag for almost half this game.
Almost all the shots that were saved were the ones that didn't end up being goals in this game, which is insane to think about. And then every shot for Easy to Freeze for the hat trick went in. No shots from Heart System that time, just assists. 2 at that. So it was a defensive game versus an offensive team. And, well, unfortunately, Gaston College did not have the defense necessary to pull off the victory that time. So big ups for We Eat Food getting the victory. But will it be enough for them to continue that? We saw last time where it was a struggle for them playing so defensively to take on the world in the next game. They kept it close. I think it was in their second game within 1 goal there against the side of Dark and Stinky Bus. But now we have to see how things go here in game 2. And again, Gaston College have their work cut out for them against We Eat Food.
I'd have to agree with you, and I think that's putting it very lightly right now. Because Gaston, although you were able to find yourself some good offense to start the game, it was very clear that We Eat Food found a way to, I'd say, withstand the pressure. And then once they withstanded the pressure, they just kind of waited for their moments. And those moments started to become more and more apparent every second we got into this game. So, unfortunately, We Eat Food are just taking advantage of the little opportunities they're being given. Speaking of which, there's another one. Heart System, though, maybe not recognizing that Easy to Freeze was diving behind them, so no real shot found.
Whew. Good save there by Wazdi. And follow-up as well. If it was on target, that could have been a goal. As unfortunate as it is for the side of Gaston Early College. I keep wanting to call them GCs.
I can't blame you.
That's what they're hoping to be in the future, you know. But even then,
if they
Wazdi
keep playing like this, they might be able
to.
Okay, I might have jinxed them on that one. I'm not going to lie. Actually, no. That's the caster blessing. Usually the caster curse shows its face. We haven't had too many of them today, though. The moment we're talking about Gaston playing like GCs, though, they prove why.
Wow. Beautiful performance from them to start off strong in game 2 of the final best of 5 of the day. Again, loser goes home. Winner moves on into that quarterfinal matchup tomorrow against the second placing team in Pool A. But the first minute, pretty eventful in favor of Gaston Early College, but they have no boost and they're going back, don't have much time, and a perfect stop by Racer Ave. Demoed by Heart System, but a little bit too late on that one.
I don't think it's going to prevent them from a follow-up attack. Okay, maybe it will, though. I was going to say, Easy to Freeze had a good touch there, but can't quite find the contact necessary. What about here? Racer and Wazdi both firing shots on, but neither one of them with enough lethality to find the back of the net. What about Easy to Freeze? Can they say the same? Absolutely not! They'll just do it themselves! The 1-2 combo, and with nobody to even help them, gets the goal!
Beautiful look there from Easy to Freeze, who is, again, putting up that MVP performance we talked about. Every shot has been a goal from them so far, and it continues to be the case here. They did have one that went awry that was saved by the other end, but even then, I mean, a great performance so far. Wazdi, though, almost able to get that one off the kickoff. And there's the follow through afterwards, and Easy to Freeze, freezing in their tracks. No way to go back in time to save that one. Heart System, unfortunately, could not read the play properly. Ball blocking their vision a little bit, but also just the block coming out was perfectly timed for Racer Ave to get that goal.
They got to be careful there on low boost. I know you're so eager to get out of your half to try and alleviate that pressure, but sometimes you just got to sustain it for a bit longer just in case. This one isn't much of a, well, let's sustain it or try and play defense. It's a kickoff goal as clean as you like it, and that's got to be huge here for an even greater lead for Gaston.
And this is completely changed in pace from what we saw in the last game, Bass. I mean, this is a different story. We eat food. They're feeling so confident, but I talked about it. Defense could only hold up so much. That's happened in every series today, especially what we saw with Hit Ball in that last series as well. Wazdi and Racer Ave proving to be stronger shooters in this series. All the shots we saw in the last one and completions in this game, but odd spot to be in. No boost, though, from Easy to Freeze. They get the center, but it was a little bit too late for the finish.
I like the idea, though. The pass out center was not a bad one. The shot, unfortunately, on the other end, though, isn't exactly going to help out increasing this lead for Gaston Early College whatsoever. Instead, we get to halftime, and the 2 goals are going to have to be enough. Here comes the trans the other way. Heart Systems recognizing the awkwardness and needed to put that on target. Unfortunately, they do not. Another good chance just going to fall by the wayside yet again. Here's another one, though. Waterfall down. Is anybody ready for it? Heart System puts it center. Easy to Freeze is there, and they'll complete the job.
Oh, that's going to hurt so much for the defense of Gaston Early College. Heart System perfectly timed. Wazdi got the boost and tried to go for the challenge, but kind of bumped them a little bit into it. Didn't really matter too much in the end, but they were hoping to stop things in their tracks and do something before it was too late. But at that moment in time, it was too late. And Racer Ave now looking to try and come back with a goal, extend their lead yet again to 2. Otherwise, we will see a comeback enacted by their opponents in We Eat Food.
That's the same thing we saw in game number 1 here. We Eat Food took a 3-2 victory. This time, it's a complete flip of the script with a 3-2 right now. But the only difference, 2 minutes to go in this game. Plenty of time, and overexertion of the offense is a concern. WASD, gotta be thinking they're lucky stars they were able to read the 50 after, because otherwise, that's every player committed and a clean transition easily available for We Eat Food. They're not going to let them have that, though. Again, Racer so close to their opponent here, just putting on the pressure, breathing down their necks without any sort of relief. And it's not a bad strategy, Vaughn, but again, it's a volatile one. If a single one of these challenges fails, that's the cleanest and easiest free ball downfield we've ever seen.
Whew. Easy to freeze, looking for something, though, and there's a great setup by Racer Ave. Perfect stop as well. Art System still looking to see what they can do in this series. And, well, they can just blind the goalie and make it so that they aren't prepared for the shot from Easy to Freeze.
Same scoreline as the first game now here for We Eat Food. 3 goals to to Easy to Freeze, 2 assists to Heart Systems. They have found a way to work as a duo and in tandem in beautiful opportunities. And again, you mentioned it, the bump on the line crucial there. Without that, there's no way they're getting past the defense. But unfortunately, they're starting to get more and more opportunities here. I hate to say it, but Gaston, you're starting to get a bit too eager. They are diving into these plays, and it is leaving their defense completely exposed.
Ooh, unfortunate there for Easy to Freeze. Heart System also crashing with the ball and their teammate. Getting desperate for this finish, and the setup was perfect, but the follow-through was not there, and that will lead to a shot the other direction. Almost went too wide, but WASD will clean it up.
This is a bit unfortunate here, and I think it's something that was both communicated and probably wasn't communicated properly, though. Off the ceiling, Heart System had the extra flip, but I don't think they were going to get to the ball. They probably told Easy to Freeze for that, and that's why they doped for it. But the issue is, you can only dive if you can guarantee a hit, and when Easy to Freeze also dives and makes no contact, that's as easy of a counterattack as they come. Speaking of which, here's another one. This one, though, will not pay off. But with 40 seconds to go, all they need to do is hold on here. You don't need another goal, Gaston. Just play carefully and play defensively.
Now I got to see what Heart System can do at this time. Great touch, but it does go the other direction, unfortunately, there. Perfect pop-up by WASD. Racer Ave looking for an answer themselves, and good touches coming out across the board in front of the net, though. Nobody's in position to put that shot on. They don't need it just yet, but with time ticking down, there might be one final chance for the side of We Eat Food to take this to OT. Right into the air it goes. It deflects off the other end. Heart System not in position, and it will be GC, or not GC, excuse me, Gaston Early College taking that game. A close affair, though. We Eat Food gave it their all, and as you mentioned, they have a system, but it was not enough for them to take down the scoring power of WASD and Racer Ave.
It's kind of crazy to me to see that this is the first game, though, where we're not seeing Easy to Freeze just putting up 100% shooting here. And the single save that they do have from Gaston Early College is going to make the difference in this one. Fortunately, another one-goal ball game between the two of them. And I have to imagine it's going to look like this for the rest of this series. But it really does come down to, in my opinion, if we can recognize the changes necessary. We mentioned it. Gaston Early College didn't really come into game 2 with a different game plan. They continued with their aggressive offense. They continued with midfield that dove on every play and kept the pressure going. But it's We Eat Food who in this game at moments recognized that pressure and just popped it to the other side of the field in order to get the counterattack. If they can do that more often, there's a world where they can just clean sweep the rest of this series, but they need to recognize those opportunities, Vaught. It feels like too many times Gaston Early College is just diving into plays, and when they have a clean beat on them, they hesitate for a moment because they don't want to get caught in no man's land, and it turns into a goal for Gaston.
Well, we go to DFH Stadium to see who is going to be taking the advantage in this series. Will it be Gaston Early College, or will it be their opponents here in We Eat Food? Only time will tell, and we saw the differences. That one save made. More defensive efforts from Gaston Early College might be enough, but if they could get an early goal, that'd be a huge start off for them. Easy to Freeze, though, looking for an opening themselves. Heart System also in the center. Not really looking for exactly what they need necessary. They did get a stop for a moment. WASD can't be stopped here, though, and there's nobody in home to even prevent that goal from going in.
This is unfortunate because rather than waiting for the golden opportunities, I feel like we're seeing the opposite from We Eat Food right now. They're starting to exert themselves even further than before. So rather than looking for their opportunities, they're just looking to dive in at every moment. And with an errant dive just past midfield there for We Eat Food, that's as free as they come for Gaston Early College here. And they hold on to their lead, though. Heart System would like an immediate response. Not going to find it, but easy to freeze. Playing patiently, realizing maybe let's not dive at midfield again and give up yet another transition.
That would be a rough spot to be in for sure.
Wow.
Well, Racer Ave, okay, they're just taking their time, letting that go over top of them. Could have seen some progression afterwards, but the defense, We Eat Food, a bit wiser on that play. A good centering shot, but nobody in position. Heart System really just deferring to their teammate, but not this time on the shot. They waited and baited out the other team and then took their shot exactly when they needed to get their first goal of the series.
I mean, I just think they expected a boomer downfield. WASD's behind the ball, and he's expecting that one to just get hit. As soon as he recognizes, oh, you're trying to play this patiently at midfield, good cut, catches the defense off guard. That's how you like it. And that's kind of the middle ground we've been talking about, VOD, where we need to see this We Eat Food team play with patience, wait for the opportunities, but when those opportunities come, they have to jump like a cat, immediately pounce on it, and hope that they're able to find a lethal strike, because they've done that many times. The issue is, again, they just sometimes bite off more than they can chew, and you can't afford to do that in a make-or-break series like this. Again, reminder for those of you at home watching, this is do or die. The loser of this series is out of the competition. The winner advances on to tomorrow. And for Gaston Early College, if they keep playing like this, they're probably finding themselves a berth into that next playoff bracket.
Want to prove that they are the stronger team in this individual matchup, and so far they are doing just that since the last game. Rough spot to be in for We Eat Food, but again, still so many chances to come back. Easy to freeze, looking for it, going for the wave dash, and they perform it perfectly. We saw WASD try to activate it as well, but was not able to connect with the ball. Instead, a perfect spot and maneuvering play from Easy to Freeze.
It's another kickoff goal, but this one a little bit more earned, I would say, from We Eat Food. Recognizing the scenario, recognizing the aggression out of Gaston, and immediately pouncing on it. Like we said, they need to be fast enough when the plays arrive. It's an exact example of what we just spoke about, and it's a beautiful example at that. This might be even prettier, but Easy to Freeze can't find the touch. And now here's the problem for Hart. They've got to make the save the other way in a 2v1, and they will. But here comes even more offense from Gaston.
3-12, and well, there'll be another goal coming through quickly after the last one. Racer Ave into the air. I thought Heart System was going to challenge off of it, but just backed off the play, and Easy to Freeze was left on their lonesome 2v1 situation, and not really the best positioning either to go for that challenge. A rough spot to be in, but a perfect passing play for that goal.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Heart System was just kind of lurking underneath the ball. And Easy to Freeze, though, struggling with a double touch. That's the second one of them they've gone for in a row that they've just been barely off the mark.
Oh, that's going to hurt so much because this could have easily been a lead for them already. But even then, Easy to Freeze not giving up without a fight themselves. Racer Ave having possession of the ball. Other direction they go with the challenge this time.
Wow.
The drop down to WASD was perfect. I'm loving these passing plays from Gaston Early College.
Gaston just feels like they are calm and collected and have an idea of how to beat their opponents. Again, that's what we said would be the difference maker in this series, is who makes those adaptations mid-series and recognizes the weaknesses of their opponents. And we said for We Eat Food, they need to take advantage of Gaston's aggression and find their opportunities. They do. I was actually going to criticize and say they haven't really done that this game, but the one time that I'm able to make the criticism, they shut me up.
Oh, the beautiful play there. As you mentioned, it into existence that time, right after the halfway mark of this game. Keeping it so close every single game, 1 goal differential. 2-3 in the favor of We Eat Food in game 1. 4-3 the other direction in game 2. Still no OTs. We've had so many close games, but no OTs. We're just blessed, I guess you could say, maybe cursed to not have them.
Me personally, I like overtime, so I'm going to say we're a little bit cursed on this one. The only thing I will say, though, is that for these two teams, they'd probably prefer that, because I hate to say it, mistakes have definitely been a big factor in this series. A little bit of an error here or there has led way to multiple goals, so in a do-or-die scenario in overtime, it's usually the mistakes that end up determining the winner. So these teams probably preferring to just play through regulation, but also preferring that maybe Easy finally get a goal. My guy, you've had so many chances and you've played well throughout this game, but I mean, you're probably thankful that the scoreboard's not reflecting that because you're technically 2 for 3 right now, but so many of these touches could have been another goal.
Wazdi, a decent play on that one as well. A perfect setup for Racer Ave. I'm loving these passing plays and the coordination we are seeing, the adaptations from Gaston Early College. Nobody does it like them.
Oh, no, it's just been so nice from the team. Honestly, my favorite part about it is that it's not an individual performance that has been popping off for them. I think Wazdi has definitely been the more offensive player and probably has been the forefront of everything, but it's similar to what we spoke about earlier today with Stinky and Dark. You can see it here out of Racer and Wazdi. They are backing off from plays when they know their opponent and their teammate are going to at least get a 50. They're playing for worst case scenario, and it's working out great. Great example there. Racer immediately back, ready for the save, and Wazdi now decent amount of boost in the tank and prepared on the follow-up. This team is doing such a good job at sending the first man and not double committing it in times they don't need to.
Well, time is ticking down, and Racer Ave
Oh.
got possession of that ball, but was flipping a little bit too uncontrollably towards the ball. Unfortunately for them, might have just been better to boost towards it, but I think they were just panicked to get possession of it before the other team came back, and they could have had that goal dead to rights. Just the pressure proving to be too much at that moment, but still works out. Time ticking down, 30 seconds. There's the shot they were looking for before. Little help from their opponents, and that might be the final nail in the coffin for this game.
I gotta say it's going to be here because not only is that yet another goal to their tally, but it's the largest lead we have seen here in a hot minute. 5-3, a 2-goal margin in favor of Gaston Early College, and I hate to say it, Vaughn, but unfortunately for We Eat Food, we asked for this game to be the adjustment period for them to make the changes to try and slow down this Gaston Early College team. They are doing almost the opposite of that. They are diving into these plays and giving time for Gaston to set up plays just like this. They do make the save there, though, and hold on a minute. 7 seconds to go. Vaughn, do you believe in miracles?
We'll have to see if it happens. Easy to freeze, a perfect passing play, and Heart System, the most goals we've seen from them in this series. And this is exactly what we're hoping from them to pop off in this game. But as you mentioned, they need a miracle to pull off the tying goal for our first overtime. Will it happen? Time ticking down. Art System looking for it. Racer Ave hits the other direction. No time on the clock, and it does touch down. Gaston Early College able to get the game, and it will be a 2-1 lead in this final best of 5.
Well, I guess I eat my words not even 30 seconds after I state them here, because what I thought would be the first 2-goal margin turns back into yet another 1-goal margin. Both of these teams on a razor's edge at this point, separating the two sides. And, man, it's a little bit painful here, if I'm being quite frank, that one of these teams has to go home. They're playing the best we've seen them all day, and unfortunately, it's in an elimination matchup.
It's so rough, but that's what happens here in these kind of tournaments. Again, went from 2-3 to 4-3 to now 5-4. It's just progressing by 1 for the winner almost every time. It's crazy to think about. I guess next game's going to be 6-5.
I'll take it. That's exciting, man. 11 goals in a 5-minute period. I might also pull some hairs out while it happens, but it'd be exciting.
I almost got 10 this time, and it was such an eventful game between these two teams. But I think the biggest note to mention is that coordination we saw from Gaston Early College. If they did not have that, which we didn't see from them in game 1, they would not have gotten the victory against this We Eat Food roster. Yes, they overextended a couple times, and yes, we did see some decent challenges from We Eat Food, but I would say still, Gaston Early College dominated that game, and now we'll have to see who takes this next one. Will it be a victory for Gaston Early College to move on to tomorrow, or will We Eat Food give us our first game 5 of this day?
Time to find out. I'd love to see a series go the distance, but I also know that for Gaston Early College, they'd like to avoid that no matter the cost. Take the momentum while you have it, close out the day, and find yourself a spot in the playoffs tomorrow. An early goal here would do a lot for them, and already they are immediately into offense.
That's exactly what you want to see from this team as well. Get onto offense as quickly as you can. They want to close things out. They don't want to have to play anymore today. Go enjoy the rest of their day. But it does go the other direction. Easy to freeze. Can't get there in time, though, to force the goal on target and away from Wazdi. Great defensive effort to get back in time for that play.
Racer, there on the follow-up, pops into the corner. I like the speed out of Wazdi there. Not going to give a moment of reprieve against We Eat Food. And Do the same thing out of midfield. Racer, that's a bold challenge to make, and it might work out. He stuffed it into the corner. Where is Wazdi? Eventually we'll get there, but by that time, the defense was prepared for it. One thing is for certain right now, Gaston Early College, again, just like the last couple of games, not taking their foot off the gas. This team wants to stay in their face of their opponents, and they're doing a great job at that, but maybe they should take a second to play some defense. Out of the corner, Heart System snipes it.
Beautiful look from Heart System on this play. They need to come out with a bang in this game, pull themselves back into the running or making it into that playoff spot. Got the first goal of many that is necessary for this victory against this team, because we've proven you need at least 3 goals to win a game in either of these games so far.
Yeah, 100%. It is not going to be a low-scoring affair no matter what. So that first goal is great, but we got 4 minutes left on the clock, and maybe a second goal for them will help them out. Well, instead, We Eat Food actually going to back off. Maybe they shouldn't have, because Wazdi's trying to take out the whole team. The last-second touch there is going to be enough, but look at the scramble afterwards. We Eat Food just trying to survive.
Minute 30 seconds and still nothing from the side of Gaston Early College. They're starting to feel the pressure with the time that is remaining, but again, they still have plenty of chances. We've seen the skill from them, and the goals that they've been able to score, at least 2 per game. Maximum of 5 in the last one. But easy to freeze, not going to make it easy for them. Off the backboard and the follow for the double tap, and this is the lead they needed.
That's the double touch that Easy to Freeze has been going for all series long. We knew they were capable of it. They've been so close so many times, and this read off the bar is incredibly impressive, just barely sneaking it by the defense. The 2-goal lead here for We Eat Food. This is what they needed to start this game off, Odd.
Exactly what they needed, and hopefully they can hold it up for this next 3 minutes. The first 2 minutes has been dominated by We Eat Food. They've been eating good so far in this game, but will it continue that way? They're looking for some dessert afterwards in a third goal, and they might be able to get it if they can get this away from Wazdi, who's just having a field day with the ball.
Oh, okay. I didn't think that would sneak its way on in, but I guess that's just desserts. All right, number 4 pun for the series here is now I'm getting involved in the action. 2-1 with about half the game to go. So Gaston Early College cutting the lead in half at the half. That's giving them a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Bit of brain freeze there in the net. There comes another, but even then, halfway point of this game, and still a chance for Gaston Early College to do what is necessary for the victory in this series. They're only down by 1, but they got to be careful here. That was a tricky play to read.
I don't blame them for reacting to the flip reset like that. I did not think that we were going to see any reset out of Freeze whatsoever, but that's a problem. That's too committing. That's Racer recognizing the breakaway, and had he had any boost left in the tank, that's surely a goal, but instead, they'll keep on playing. This one off the side wall. Awkward here for Hart. Does Wazdi know what they do, so they won't even challenge? They'd rather force them to take the boost and keep the awkwardness going. Through the corner, though. Freeze gonna get that boost, which is gonna make this a little bit easier of a save, but nothing easy about that. Scrambling on defense, or We Eat Food, but with 2 minutes to go, they have to be careful. They cannot afford to give up a goal now.
Now I got to see what Heart System can do to get this away from their side. Wazdi, decent plays from what we've seen from them so far. Plenty of shots. That single goal, though, really keeping them competitive in this one and trying to do what they can to not force that game at 5. Need to see more from Racer Ape, though. In that last one, we saw so many passing plays, and I talked about how every game we've seen some great looks from them, at least in the last 2. But the demo game for Easy to Freeze almost was enough for a 3rd goal for the side of We Eat Food.
I don't know how Easy to Freeze read that, but maybe they shouldn't have, because here comes Wazdi off the bar. Huge save out of Heart Systems. I don't know if that was intentional or just right place, right time. Either way, it'll do enough to keep them the lead and maybe even increase it. Racer needs a touch here and will find it, but my goodness, we've talked about a razor margin between the 2 teams all day. It still continues that way. If We Eat Food mess up even once here in this closing minute, we're probably finally seeing that overtime.
Could get to that point, but again, we've seen every game so far that could get to OT, not go to it, and I wouldn't doubt that that would be the case here again. Just need to make sure for We Eat Food that they do not overextend themselves like we saw from their opponents a couple of times. Wazdi Minimum amount of goals we saw from them was in game 1 with 2, and seems like this might be the least we've seen from them so far, and that's not how they want to go out into this game, but might be forced to do so. Less than 10 seconds in just a moment. Easy to freeze, looking for a final nail in the coffin, a dagger in the heart of their opponents, and well, the clock seems to be doing just fine in that fashion, but a goal almost going through. Won't need it necessarily. Still kept up for a second as it does touch down. And Bass, we finally get a game 5.
We get a game 5, we avoid the overtime, but we also break the streak of just continually piling on goals throughout this series. Rather than going up, we go back down to our lowest score total so far at 1-2, only 3 goals total throughout the two teams.
Wow.
This is what we were hoping for, honestly. We wanted to see the teams improve as the series has gone on, and I can definitively say they are playing their best Rocket League here to close out this series.
That they are. I mean, I'm stressed for both these teams, Bass. They're both so good. They're giving it their all, and they both deserve it, but only one of them can truly deserve it, truly get that victory, earn it to move on to tomorrow. It's going to be a rough spot for them. Nonetheless, though, we will have to see how things progress from here on out. The winner of this match will be facing off against the new SpongeBob Puzzle Show team that we talked about that was formed from Nutella, and I believe it was Rye for president. So we'll have to see who will move on to that quarterfinal matchup tomorrow. Again, all matches will be streamed tomorrow, so definitely look out for that if your favorite team is still in the competition. I think we need to change this because this is not the right map.
I'm going to assume this was not intentional, so we might have a couple extra seconds here to reset, and that gives us more time to talk about this competition like we said. For those of you at home that are even wondering at this point, I don't know how you got here in Game 5. I'm just going to try to ignore VOD will break it down. Sign up for VESL stuff. We mentioned it below. All of the different ads here. If you want to get involved in VESL competitions going forward, not just in Rocket League, but in multiple other games, including Smash and Fortnite upcoming, make sure to check out VESL on all the different platforms. Make sure to register as soon as you can, and let's make sure we're ready here for our 5th and final game of the day, because my goodness, that was a little bit of a jump scare. I don't know if I've seen a Rocket Labs map in years.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah, it was the Hourglass map, if y'all were aware. So it's like, yeah, we're definitely not doing that. It's not a competitive match, and that's not Game 5. We got to do Champions Field, please. Just to let them go.
I am hoping we get Champions Field. I'm just hoping we don't get Rocket Labs. Any other map's cool. Honestly, if the Hot Wheels map was still in the game, I'd probably say the Hot Wheels map, but unfortunately, that's I don't know if that's an option. So either way here, we get ready for our 5th and final match of the game, or of the day, and I gotta say, VOD, again, 1-goal margins through every game we have played thus far, but I think the same thing that we have mentioned throughout the series still continues to ring true. It's the team that keeps the most level head here that is going to win this. Being able to make that judgment between playing defensively and backing off of a play and full sending it and diving in, that margin in between, the silver line and the cloud, is where they need to be. If they can find that, they win this series, and I say that to both of these teams.
Well, Bass, I think the lobby deets are the same if you want to join us into it, and that is the case. I mean, this breather in between games, I feel like is going to be enough for these teams to lock in. They have a breather, they get back into the lobby, have a little laugh, and we are on Champions Field for the first time today. I think on either stream, actually. So this will be huge to see who takes the championship, in quotation marks, in this game to move on to the playoffs tomorrow, and who goes home empty. Will it be Gaston College or we Food? They're saying we should have ran that map for fun. You know, we need to do a non-standard map tournament. I'm just calling it. That'd be so fun. But either way, we'll see how things go in this one, Bass.
All I'm going to say is that I respect them for wanting to play through that map, but God, please no. Anything but Rocket Labs maps, man. I'm ready to get this one started, though, and the players are as well. We've hit the pitch. We've gotten it started. Game 5 in our best of 5. Winner of this one moves on to tomorrow. Loser, unfortunately, well, the good thing is there's plenty more Rocket League competitions coming up for VESL, so sign up for those instead, because this will be your final resting place for this weekend. Who's it going to be, though? It's about to find out. It might be We Food advancing on, though. Perfect demo at midfield, and we've got our first goal.
Beautiful read from Heart System 2, and that was the most perfect time demo I've ever seen. That would have easily been a grab for the ball, and that was a very get down, Mr. President aspect there with the demo that time. But first 31 seconds, first goal, looking for a second. Easy to freeze, got the boost, because they need to take this away from their side. Wazdi and Racer Ave could have equalized things there, and Wazdi, not the best challenge that they had on the play, but at least they kept it moving forward and bought enough time for the teammate to have boost before they get demoed.
I gotta say, this is actually the first time we've seen this amount of demos, I think, the entire series, and it's very
Truly.
intentional, it seems, right now. 3 demos in the first minute, so this might be the game plan here for We Eat Food. If they do want to play aggressively but don't want as much risk, literally just remove the defense, and they're doing it again!
Wow.
Hard, diving downfield, they don't even make contact, but the threat of a bump is enough.
What's crazy to me here, Bass, to give you some background on this team of We Eat Food, they faced off, I think it was against one of the stronger rosters in the upper bracket yesterday. Their teammate Freeze got disheartened, disconnected, went just no answer, ghosted for a little bit, almost had to forfeit in the lower bracket, came back in the final hour before the DQ timer, made it all the way through the lower bracket, is here now potentially qualifying, but they still have to take down this team in Gaston Early College as they get that goal on the board.
I mean, look, I'm glad that they're here in the competition, but they got to stay in the competition for the full 5 minutes. Head in the game, gentlemen, and trying to bite off more than you can chew by playing too closely out of midfield is going to give up their first goal here. Not a bad start here for either one of the two teams. I'm glad that we're seeing a pretty aggressive side from both of them, meaning that there is no lack of confidence in Game 5. But as we said, the middle ground is where they need to lie. If they play too aggressively and they keep making dives like that out of midfield, transition goals are easy. If they play too defensively, they give up free shots. Speaking of which, what is going on here? I think both Heart System and Easy to Freeze believe their teammate had it, and nobody ended up going for the ball.
Might be a chance here for another goal, and there it is for Easy to Freeze. The redemption, as I spoke of, came back into the tournament later on in that the qualifier bracket, excuse me. And now we see them here popping off yet again for their team. 3:13 on the clock, 3-1 lead. This is exactly what they were looking for, to come back with this victory. It seemed like it was dire straits, that it might have been a 3-1 victory for their opponents, but they were able to get the victory, a close margin, 2-1, the least amount of goals we'd saw before, but it's a good start for them in the first half of this game.
Game's not done, though. Plenty of time here, and as we've seen from Gaston Early College, this is not a team that is going to go down without a fight. They will dive at everything, and if you give them the opportunity, they'll put shots like that, both on and off target. Unfortunate, but Wazdi there for the backup, trying to snipe the corner, and I guess 1 for 3 normally wouldn't be too bad, but unfortunately the one that was on target was blocked. The following two not able to find the goal mouth, but the offense continues. Pass out center, but there ends it all.
The other series on the A stream also in Game 5, reverse sweep territory too for Rock to Leg. Taking that as well, as there's another shot coming through, and so close yet again, barely bouncing off the woodwork in a way. Dangerous spot to be in, but also these overcommits that we're seeing from Gaston Early College, they should not be going for these challenges when they do not have possession with the ball.
I mean, I think they just think there's less time on the clock than they know. Apparently, they don't need time on the clock. They just need one overplay here. We Eat Food. You're diving all the way downfield. Heart Systems in no man's land, and that'll do it.
Beautiful touches, left and right. Love to see it here from these teams. We will see who takes the win at the end of the day. Still behind Gaston Early College, looking for their answer. They got one there, but still haven't found the full solution for the victory. With 1 minute and 48 seconds, only so much time remains for them. They need possession of the ball. They can't afford to leave it that dangerously hanging in front of their own net.
Oh, Easy, not recognizing that was an awkward touch off the backboard for Racer. Otherwise, I think that could have been a challenge, but instead, the lack thereof one now gives a chance for Gaston the other way. Off the backboard,
nice.
Defense is awkward, and that's as free as you like it. Racer cleans up from their teammate, and we got a tied game.
Love the pass that we see here as well. Could have gone for the shot, and that did make it awkward for Heart System on the defensive end to know where exactly it was going, but also the distraction in front of the net we see there on the goal line really just made that perfect for them to get the goal and tie things up. Now it's anybody's game.
Heart trying to keep this going for their team, though. See if that they can maybe now get a lead for themselves instead. I don't know if they're going to find it quite yet, though. minute left to go. The two teams as tied up as ever, and honestly, that's kind of what I want to see. Maybe we finally get overtime on our final game of the day. It'd be about as poetic as they come, but WOSD's got other plans. Air dribble through midfield, looking for the pinch down, and they will get it, but not on target. Freeze also with a full tank of boost means they didn't have to exert much, so here comes a quick counterattack the other way, and showing them how to pinch it instead. Hart gets it center, but WOSD on the backboard and ready for the follow-up.
Now we got to see what WOSD can do, and just kind of gave it up to their opponents. They went for some boost over the ball. I kind of respect it. They didn't know exactly what to do with the play there. Their teammate was probably saying, yeah, just don't go for that. Oh, but there's a chance here if they can pull it off in enough time, but no, they weren't expecting it. And that would have been the perfect time to strike, but now it is the time to strike for their opponents, and We Eat Food. But neither of them really having a solid chance to get a shot off on the board.
I gotta be careful, though. I'm seeing these turns out at midfield, and if even one of those goes bad, that's a goal. This still might be off the backboard, and Easy said, I've had enough double touches today. It's your turn, Hart.
Hart System takes it the distance, and that might be the final nail in the coffin for their opponents. We've seen every game be decided by a single goal, and that be the single goal that decides this entire game and the placement into the playoffs for Pool 2. Even then, though, WOSD, one final chance, trying to bait out Easy to Freeze, goes for the flip reset and puts it through with 4 seconds to tie things up.
The perfect flip reset. It's so pretty you might not even notice if you didn't know what happened. Muscles through the 50, slides it into the net, and we've got a 4-second game left in a 4-4 tie. Could we see an overtime? Hold your breath, we got one kickoff left.
Might be our final chance, and that it is. We do go to OT here, and it will be our first of the day on this stream. Racerave, though, looks for it. The finishing touch, it was almost there, but Hart System saves it. At the last second, it almost goes in off the crossbar. Racerave with the follow through, and no, it still goes by the wayside.
Gaston saw their chances to Sunday. Unfortunately, they'll have to try again. The only benefit for them, though, they've got some offense building and possession in their favor. Hart trying to make me eat my words, but a good 50 from Racer should stop the offense here. Hart, are you going to dive here? You've got no boost. A bit of a bold challenge, but it won't bite them yet. 30 seconds into overtime here, and Gaston still trying to break out of their half. Will they find it? Racer able to get around one, not the other, and my goodness, was the perfect placement there. They need to be careful, though. How many shots can they withstand before they give up a goal?
No boost in the tank for the defender on the net. Both of them go up for it, and Easy to Freeze, not easy enough to get that past the defender. Hart System, all eyes on them. They got the goal for the lead before. They're looking for the victory this time, but Racerave on the counterattack, countered by Easy to Freeze. WOSD waiting for their time to strike, gets the boost, can't get the ball though, and it's still evened out a little bit. Hart System with a great clear out.
This is going to be difficult for a transition here, though, for everyone on We Eat Food. Low boost in the tank, and now numbers advantage to their opponents, and Easy Freeze doing that. I don't think that was the touch they were looking for, and it might be the end of the game if not for a good save out of Hart. But more left to do. They now need to transition the other way, and they put the ball a bit too far in front of them, so defense should be prepared for it, and that they are. WOSD can't get around Easy to Freeze, though, and I gotta say, I expected a little bit of hesitation in overtime. Neither team hesitating for a moment.
Oh, this might be the chance. No, Easy to Freeze feels side flip, man, but wasn't in the best position to enact a goal scoring opportunity there. Hart System, boost, ball, and all of the chances. She's looking for her opportunity to crash things into the net and go from there. WOSD, though, gets the challenge, gets it past, and is getting the finish. The comeback from Gaston Early College will get them the victory, and of course the leaves come out, but you got to give it to Gaston Early College. They gave it their all to get this victory in OT.
This was the best game possible between the two teams, and it ended exactly how we said. If you get too eager, these teams are so quick on the transition and will punish you without hesitation. And that's what we see there. WOSD sees the opening, dives at the ball, and all they need to do is put it on target. A beautiful victory, and Gaston Early College High School move on to Sunday.
What a victory that was. I gotta feel so bad for We Eat Food, though. They were so close. They had it in the bag. One goal in the last 4 seconds of the game is really what decided things against them. And really, Gaston Early College High School gave it their all in that OT, deserved the victory at the end of the day. It's so rough for WeEFu, but they gave it their all, and we got to give them a round of applause because what a performance that was from them, Bass.
Yeah, I'm honestly just saying GG's well played in the game as well. I got to give them their credit for that one. Commend beyond compare. These guys are fantastic. Genuinely great play here. And not only great play, but clutch play at that. This is everything we hoped for. We saw a day where we saw players that were dominant, who we knew would make it to tomorrow and gave us a great show, especially in that upper final. But we also saw the other side of the coin. Teams that knew they would come into this one, the underdogs, but improved as the day went on. And that's what we want to see, is teams who come into this one recognize that this competition isn't just about winning, it's about getting the experience. So for these teams, even if you did get eliminated here today, remember, VESL's got more competitions for Rocket League. Sign up for those. This was just the start of it all.
Yeah, we do have the regular season coming up. Registration closes on the 20th. You can register at myvesl.org if you are a high school in North Carolina. It'll eventually expand in the future, but just for North Carolina for now. Again, still great competitions to come. I will shout out those other events if you do want to participate them and Rocket League isn't your game. The Smash Draft Clash, $7,000 tournament prizing with professional player captains who will be drafting from a pool of 48 VESL students. Those players will play in 4v4 crew battles to see who will be at the top at the end of that event. There'll be a little bit of a handicap, of course, for the captains because we want to make it competitive as best as we can. But even then, that's going to be a great one on September 13th to the 15th. That'll be the next event after this one. And then at the end of September, towards the beginning of the regular season, there will be the $3,000 Cash Cup prizing event for Fortnite. Same format as the Cash Cup as you're used to seeing. We're still coming up with the exact name for it. I like Clash Cup. What do you think about that, Bass? It's kind of a play on it. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But either way, we'll be back tomorrow on just the main stream, just a single stream where we go through every single match. The bracket will start with 2 best-of-5s in the quarterfinals, then all best-of-7s for our final 3 matches. And I believe we do have our final team joining the bracket as well as Seekers from the other pools. So we do have all of the teams who have qualified. Let me just get that real quick so we can go over it. We don't have the bracket here prepared, but we'll have that ready for tomorrow. So we do have Gummy Momo, who got the first seed out of Pool A, and then SpongeBob Puzzle Show, who got the second seed. And then we saw Hitball in our group getting the first seed, of course, Nightcord getting the second seed, and now just Gas and Early College with the third seed, and Seekers with the third seed from the other pool as well. So that's all the teams we have for today. Bass, final thoughts from you before we send things away for the day.
Make sure you're here tomorrow. If you guys enjoyed the competition we saw here today, get ready. Tomorrow is going to be just as exciting, and it is going to be a little bit of a longer day, though. We've got 6 total matches to play through, but I can guarantee you this much. It's going to be a banger on every single one of them. So like I said, make sure you tune in here tomorrow. Make sure you follow VESL and everything, and make sure you follow VOD and I as well. I'm just going to plug ourselves because we deserve it.
Thank you. At Vaudable and at Bass from the Pass on social media. And that is all the time we have for the day. Thank you to our production crew in the background. They've been doing some great work. Waifu and Precise. Also read on the A stream as well and the other PAs who have been helping make this a possibility. But also have to shout out Spider and Wing this area who have been helping us on the back end there with Notice, clipping things. Check out the social media links. Some insane plays have been posted throughout the day. But anyway, that's all the time we have for the day. We will see you on the main stream tomorrow. So without further ado, see you tomorrow.